starting screen. I didn't have an especially solid idea of what the starting screen is depicting, but I guess it can be the city of Samark, which is the duchy capital, which should probably be the hometown of Lily and Eifer. But you guys have had your backs to it for a while. But overall, let's get introduced into the actual world. This year is 651. We're currently early in the half season of Tullus, which is the first half season of springtime, and we're in the kingdom of Esden. This is a land of mountains, valleys, glades, and sometimes tunnels. It's been united for 6 generations now. It's held its own with relative stability, a few succession dramas here and there, perhaps a civil war, nothing that broke it apart. It's peacetime at the moment internally. There's a prevailing idea of nationhood that's set in over that time. Of course, tensions between the northern and southern cultures are always there. The religions of Abadar and Eristil weren't enough. Old wounds from conflicts, ages past, are still sore. Fortunately, the King-Free Plateau to the west, the wasteland of warlords and savagery outside the kingdom, has produced for Esden a common enemy. The Hobgoblin war chief Trolk Thunder has amassed a great horde that he's thrown against the walls of the kingdom. Your apparent mission? To secure the county of Kurum against raiders that are splintered off from that horde. I trust everyone has read their letters that they received from various NPCs before they left.
Yes.
Stupid letter.
Today is a sunny day. A cool breeze has been prevailing at your backs as a horse-drawn carriage trundles along a furrowed dirt road. The tall fields of green grass are shining in waves around you against the wind. There's you're on the side of a very gently sloping hill. To your right is the colossal grey mountain range, Captain Snow, which borders this current county. You've all lived in Esden long enough to see that such terrain is normal rather than, majestic or breathtaking, you might say it. These are the Trigger Mountains, particularly. They aren't even the tallest that you guys have seen. Esden is full of great mountains. In contrast, to your left is a wall of trees that darken the ground beyond them. You can hardly see 10 meters into the forest from this distance. That place is called the Autumn Woods. If your maps are any indication, it stretches on for hundreds of kilometers without any civilization. There's evidence of some cautious logging at its edges, but the Autumn Woods have a far-reaching reputation for housing all sorts of fae, pagan cults, and all manners of other wild horrors within its vast, innavigable expanse. Probably best to stick to the road like you guys are. Now, all of you, you've been traveling along for about a week or so out of the city of Samark. Your accommodation has been modest between various inns on the road. Occasionally, just the stars above have sheltered you. Or tents, because you guys are equipped. But your destination is up ahead. This is the county of Kurum. Your first stop will be the small town of Pascali, and you shouldn't be too far out by now, maybe a couple of hours. But what are you guys up to on the road? It's about time, I reckon, we introduce characters. So, we'll start. JB's in the leftmost of my avatar row, so what's Lily up to at the moment? I just switch you guys to the map with you guys at the carriage.
Well, I'm still on the home screen, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Lily is just kind of keeping an eye out. Isn't really that excited about this whole journey. Just kind of sitting and listening to whatever conversation is going on. Probably chattering whenever someone is talking to her. Trying to figure out really what her place in this world is right now. Because everything sucks, People just really sucky right now. Plus, there's this really weird guy who is claiming he's a prince and is joining them, and I don't know. She doesn't like him. Not yet. That's what she's up to.
Speaking of that guy, Clayproof, what's Prince Othukkax up to right now?
He is basking in the sun, um, chilling with his helmet off, arms over the railings of the wagon, um, like lightly smiling to himself, like a joke that nobody else told.
Sounds good. I've just realized that I've got the old version of your token here. Just a moment. So can everyone see the map where everyone's in the carriage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You can arrange yourselves where you'd more likely be. I've just put you where you might be. And 16-bit. What's Eifer doing right now? What's she thinking?
She's just kind of keeping an eye on the prince and switching glances between Lily and Max. She's very interested in this prince character, although she understands her place at Lily's sides, and it's just kind of quiet right now. Which is more so just waiting for the next something to happen. Anything really. She's kind of ready to get off this sleigh.
It's a carriage, not a sleigh.
Yeah.
And Maximilian, I would say, is currently driving the carriage, just keeping an eye out on everyone. He's not a very especially talkative, conversational person at the best of times, but he sort of just adds to everyone's tension on the road at the moment because it sounds like communication's been at a minimum for a while. Perhaps the entourage of Othukkax has been talking amongst themselves or to the prince, or trying to strike up conversations. I'm not sure.
I think they have been keeping it in Draconic, or like switching over to Broken Common sometimes.
That's right.
Yes, and it's like kind of a mix between Infernal and Draconic. So Eifer might catch some words.
Speaking of languages, I didn't put anything. I didn't know what to put for a fourth language, so I put Igpay Atenlay. Hope that's alright.
Also, as a side note, I know Draconic, so if there's anything interesting that they're saying, what are they saying? Do you know?
It's more like Othukkax boasting about stuff. Like it's a bit of a weird language. You might catch bits and pieces of it. And it's the Narexot is advising him to not do things he's saying he should do, to not act out and be strange. And Unut is pretty quiet. He's just a servant. And the guy Xalpu is just driving or sitting on the elephant. So it's mostly a discussion between Narexat and Othukkax, I think.
Mm-hmm. And Laxrazak, well, sorry, I need to zoom in to actually pronounce his name so I can read it.
Dumbo.
Latroxat, I believe.
Latroxat, I guess.
Latroxat has been drawing a lot of eyes while you've been here. You probably had to pick up a creature like that at whatever port you came in on, because elephants aren't native to the Esden Mountains. He's been working relatively well, navigating the roads. Have a bit of trouble with some of the narrower trails, but for the most part, you've been able to find your way around. But yeah, definitely not a common sight. Your renown is boosted by this magnificent creature.
Yes. I think there is some like slight hand painting on the side of Latroxat, kind of like a ochreish red. For some like images that looks like the images on Othukkax armor as well.
It's a good thing that we have no reason to hide or anything, since we have this giant elephant in front of us. No one would ever be able to see us coming from 5,000 miles away.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because there are not that many flat sections of terrain within Esden apart from where all the agriculture is done, which is fairly valuable land. So whenever Latroxat really sticks out like a sore thumb is mostly near the towns and the hamlets and things like that. But it's still a case that he is very tall, so it is less conspicuous to... Oh, it is more conspicuous to have an elephant around, for sure.
Yeah, I guess Xalp is in a nice heightened position, at least.
Now, how long do you expect us to be on the road? Or how long does Lily expect that we're on the road? Because we have an idea of our destination and so on.
So you guys have been on the road for about a week now, but you are very close to where your destination is, or where your first destination is, that being the town of Pascaly. So you've had a bit of time to break the ice together.
All right.
But as
Well,
you're... sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Maximilian is going to lean to you, Othukkax, and ask us, so you've been in Esden for how long now?
I have been in Eston 3 years now. Lovely country you have here.
It's not bad.
Yes, your hospitality has been most gracious.
Yeah, it's
But-
a pretty gracious hospitality when you're dealing with nobles and you're a noble yourself, you know, a prince even.
Yes.
Very gracious. Everyone loves to suck up to princes.
Yes, that is a fair point.
Just wait till you get into the towns. They don't like princes so much out there.
I must say I do not like your winters. It's much too cold. But yes, I will manage. I'm here for a mission. After all, it's no time for fun.
What was your mission again?
I am here to gather support and come back to my home country with that support. I aim to claim my rightful place.
And they're okay with you being gone for 3 years, huh?
I have many sisters and brothers. I doubt they are missing me. They won't know what's coming when I return.
Can I insight that?
Roll.
With my +0. Seems all right to me. You're a hard man to
You know,
read.
you would find it hard to read Othukkax's expression. It's simply because of that really sticky and really annoying smile that he's got. It just annoys you too much to think clearly at the moment.
It really does. It really, really does.
He smiles in your direction with that smile.
She returns the smile with a sycophantish look on her face, trying to copy his.
He also raises his hands behind his back and lifts his foot over the other, and continues to chew on a straw he managed to pick up somewhere.
Your fortune may not follow you easily through here. You got hospitality, but that was during peacetime. But this may be an
Yes,
opportunity for you to show that you are worthy of whatever claim you are trying to take.
My boasting is not without merit. I am a fighter, and I am the future emperor of my country.
Well, Mr. Future
That is
Emperor,
true.
I really hope you don't get stuck out here by any arrows.
My fate is not to die out here. My fate is to lead my people. That is what the prophecies say and the stories, and I am following that story. Isn't that right, Narexat? Yes, indeed, master.
Does Eifer have anything to say in this conversation, or is she just sitting back with her arms crossed?
She is very curious. So, Prince,
Yes.
this you are you guaranteed emperor, or how does the line of succession work with you? You said you had many brothers and sisters. Are you the oldest?
The most worthy is chosen.
Oh. Gotcha.
But it's a bit more complicated than that. But
So what, do you all
I'll just
gang
go
up
with that
and
for now.
kill each other for the throne or something? Or
No.
well, I would have
Just
paid to
a
see
few
that.
of us.
That's too bad.
I will not. My story is not the one of the killing. But yes, some of my brothers and sisters resort to those means. And that is all fun and games, but I am finding my way out here.
So let me get this straight. There are a whole bunch of princes and princesses who are in line to become emperor, and I'm sure every single one of them thinks that they are destined to be the emperor. Is that the case?
No, not everybody believes in the prophecies as much as I am. My brothers and sisters are faithless. They do
Chosen
not
by a
believe.
god, even better.
And Master! Master! Yeah,
Yes?
Shalpu. I see creatures on the wind. Ugly men in furs. They ride on cows. At this, Maximilian bolts upright on his driving position and looks over to the southeast. Raiders, to arms!
Can I roll perception?
Go
Finally.
for it. So now that it's been pointed out to you, it's fairly easy to see them coming in and starting to hear them. You hear a sort of braying in the distance, and off to southeast, just cresting a hill, you can see the top of a very hairy white bovine creature that is carrying a dull-skinned, leather-armored creature with a rather long lance. And cresting over the hill behind him are two more similar creatures with shields and javelins out. They appear to be looking in your direction as they are closing in.
All right. Do we have any time to do any actions?
You guys have a turn to prepare.
All right. Do you want us to roll initiative to do this, or?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. I need to work out the initiative stuff.
Yeah. Othukkax will just get to safety. I will fight them towards his servants.
Yes, master.
Yeah, and elephants start shambling away. We'll see how about we use that later.
Mm-hmm.
Initiative.
Where is the turn order thing?
It's one of the buttons on the left.
Ah,
Ooh.
got it.
That is not good.
Wow.
Oh,
still
fight
looking,
them!
guys.
Goes last.
Othukkax is like lazily putting on his helmet and like rolling his shoulders a bit.
Lily is definitely ready to jump into action. She has been sitting for far too long. If you hit the... There you go. Okay. You got
I
it.
just clicked and dragged.
Oh, if you hit the gear icon, you can sort by ascending, descending. That'll help when
That
you have a
sounds
lot
good.
more tokens.
Okay, so yeah,
All right.
Unuk gets out of there. Nakuza gets out of there, and the elephant and Jalpa gets out of there. They're non-combatants in this.
Okay. Do we have to worry about the horse's health, if at all? Should we have health bars for them?
It'll become relevant later if they start targeting them.
All right.
We
So
could like have Unut drive the horses away, I guess.
Lily is
No.
going to draw her weapon, of course, and just leap off the cart and run straight towards where she knows the enemies are coming from.
Radio.
Just double move.
And yeah, Maximilian's going to say, "They're on yaks. We can't outrun them here."
Actually, how far away are they?
After your turn, they will close in and we'll start initiative.
Okay, so I'll have my sword drawn then.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
And Eifer?
You can click the next button, I believe, on the initiative if you want.
Yep, just a second. We're doing out of initiative order for this preparatory
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, Eifer's just gonna move up next to Lady Lily, and shield at the ready. I'm going to cast a resistance on Lily.
Nice.
Got it.
All right, D4 to save. One save. All right.
Just rolling up the initiative for these other guys. Pardon my delay.
How far were they? Can I do anything?
Can you target them, you mean, to attack?
Yes.
Okay.
Depends. What are you targeting them with?
A javelin.
They're like 120 feet, right?
30-90, I
Yeah.
think, but I can check.
Or max. I know the minimum's like 30 or 60 or something. Hold on, I got it here.
Javelin. Javelin is 31-20, you're right.
Okay,
I'm
so
wrong.
you could try and chuck a javelin at them opening out, but you'd have disadvantage.
I will hold, I guess, till I guess no disadvantage, I guess then.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Right.
readying a javelin and holding up his shield.
So closing in on you guys. Are these friendly folks? As they are coming in at speed, but Lily is at the top of the initiative. So you have the first turn.
All right, cool. They look cute. So I'm gonna target the rider.
Mm-hmm.
Still thinking about that. What are these yaks? They said.
These are yaks in appearance. You can roll. Which skill would be?
Nature.
Yeah, go nature if you're talking about these things in particular. I
Would
can
that
give you
take
some
any action or?
No,
Okay.
it's just rolling for knowledge.
18. I know stuff about yaks.
Yeah, so yeah, the yaks are fairly common in domestication here in Eston as the as the main cow of the place. But these ones, are rather large. In fact, they're large enough to both carry these creatures as well as to run at quite a speed. These are battle yaks. They're bred by military organizations as well as barbarians outside to raid in mountainous areas because they are better at scaling slopes, they're hardier, and they're more weather resistant than horses. However, they are a little slower than horses when horses are unladen. So in flataway areas, they're a bit slower. They are generally docile, conflict adverse, but if you piss them off, they will try and ram you.
Okay. And does the rider on top of this particular yak, does he look like a leader from how they're acting, or does he look like he's just another, I guess they're goblinoids?
Yes, these are hobgoblins, and the one at the front with the open mouth is screeching a battle cry as he's closing in. He appears to be the most confident one because he's charging in with his lance forward.
All right, so I am going to attack the screaming dude, and I am going to
That's going to be a hit.
I'm going to add a trip to that.
Alrighty. So let me just save for him. And he passes, but you manage to cut right into him pretty deep. And the momentum that he has as you like bat away his lance and just spin and cut into his torso sends him... Come on, select the token. Technical difficulties, guys, sorry. I'm a noob to D&D Roll20. Seriously, what's wrong? Are they on the wrong... Oh, I'm on the wrong layer, of course.
That's right. Layer does it every time.
Yep. And the momentum that he's carrying, because he can't blunt any of the blows force with falling off his yak, you actually cut deep into him, and he just slides off his yak, dead.
So they have less than 15 health. Can I just let out a scream at the other two? I don't know if I can do intimidate as a action or bonus or anything, but she's just gonna scream at the others.
You can do it for effect. Roll intimidate for me. Jesus, what's going on here?
I have +5 to intimidate. That was a 19.
Not bad, not bad.
Okay. So she just lets out a guttural roar at the other two.
So these hobgoblins are very hesitant now.
After one-shotting their master.
They are very hesitant, but they seem pretty pissed off that you just killed their leader. So they are raising up javelins. Is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Right, these guys' turns now. This one is going to... This guy's going to circle around and chuck a javelin. And Lily, you are hit by a javelin for 6 damage.
Okay.
This gent is going to go around the trees and attempt to chuck a javelin at Eifer as he's passing between them. If I can look at the right character sheet.
You didn't set up the auto token for the actions?
No, I didn't quite have time.
Okay.
And hold on a second. What's Eifer's bars? AC no armor? Why is it AC no armor?
Eifer, what's your AC?
19 shield and heavy.
So this guy gets a lucky hit in, a very lucky hit. And you take 5 damage, Eifer.
Alright.
And now it is Maximilian's turn. He has pulled out his longbow and is taking aim at the one circling south.
Does the yak do anything?
The yak is sort of reeling back at the moment from your scream.
Okay.
And Maximilian misses. And yeah, let's say this yak, it's getting the hell out of dodge right now.
I'll let it go. I'll be nice. It's just a poor yak.
And Eifer.
Sorry, Princey. Save some bad guys for me, Lily. I'm gonna cast firebolt at
I was gonna say, really? Where did you get that?
at this guy right here.
Go for it.
Since we have people who are going to be listening that don't know, Fireball is a level 3 spell that you don't have until level 5. So it'd be kind of crazy to have that right now. Firebolt.
All right, so you hit for 8 damage. This guy is struck across the back as he's failing to duck underneath it, and you hear him scream out in a bit of pain as he's pulling out another javelin, but he sort of bares his teeth at you menacingly.
Nah.
So he's currently smoking and snarling. He's like, ah! Is that your turn, Eifer?
Yeah.
Othukkax.
My worth will be proved in your blood. And he throws a javelin.
Roll to hit. And this one veers a little wide, unfortunately, as the hobgoblin appears to be a bit more cautious now that he was hit by a ball of fire, but he is not deterred.
Haha!
Othukkax, anything else in your turn?
Othukkax will also shout, Unut, you see where that landed?
I think so, master. Just in the distance. How are your servants reacting to these raiders now that you've joined the fray?
They are kind of calmly and collectedly like huddling up near the elephant and like moving for cover. It seems we have been attacked before on our way north. So
Okay, so they know the drill.
Strange scenario.
Rightio, Lily, you're up.
Lily's going to rush forward. She's going to say, "You're next," and bring her sword down. Thwap.
Again, landing the mark pretty well.
You know what? I'll do it again. Trip.
This guy fails his save because
He dead.
you done cut right into his gut past his leather armor with that blow, and while the goblin himself dies. Hold on, my avatar's in the way. The goblin himself dies, and like you sort of clothesline him off his yak,
That's how you prove your worth, Prince.
Ah,
So
The
the
game is
action
a good
keeps on
fight.
going, but the hobgoblin is dead on your sword.
it's all fun and games now.
And this hobgoblin seems to be wheeling around these trees. But as he's going around, he is apparently trying to evade. And hold on a second, let me get the ruler out. He sees Othukkax is a bit slow, so he thinks he can get away with weaving between these guys as he chucks another javelin, this time at Othukkax. And Othukkax, you have a shield, right?
Yes.
You catch this javelin on your shield as it glances away. It's got some good strength behind it, but not enough to deter you.
Not good enough, strange creature.
And Maximilian's turn. He is going to... Hold on a sec. My push to talk button, like, minimizes my Windows arrow window changes, so it
Ugh,
gets a little annoying.
I would rebind that.
Yeah, it's just so few... There's so few keys that don't affect things in the background.
I use tilde, usually.
Yeah, that just fills out, like, chat boxes full of tildes. He's actually going to cast Toll the Dead on this creature.
Nice.
So, lowering his bow for a moment, he holds onto an amulet around his chest of this golden winged angel and whispers some words as there appears to be, coming out of the rays of sun above, this sort of light which takes on a really deep orange hue and curls in on this this hobgoblin as he tries to save against it.
He hasn't been hit yet,
And
right?
fails.
Oof.
So he sort of convulses for a little bit and shouts up in the sky, "Man, witch!" That came out wrong.
Manwich, the tastiest sandwich.
Mm-hmm. As he takes a few hit points and damage. And we are on to Eifer.
Don't talk to Father Max like that. Firebolt.
That's another hit.
Another 2 damage.
As you clip this hobgoblin on his off arm, and his shield is not quite positioned to protect him. He feels beset on all sides and just looking a little bit fearful in the eyes, thinking he's probably made some bad decisions in life.
Othukkax, I dare you to use a cantrip.
I will then, I guess.
Eifer, are you moving anywhere?
Nope, that'll be it.
Othukkax, it's your turn.
I move up and I'm just gonna check if poison spray counts as like if you do it in close combat, does it count as like disadvantage?
Is it a ranged attack?
It's a save,
Yes.
isn't it? Con save.
Yes, it's a save. So,
So
no,
there's no
it's-
Okay,
disadvantage.
so yeah.
Cool.
Usually. These damage rolls are great.
Nice.
Yeah, there is like a little slit in the faceplate of the armor he wears, and there's like a small bit of clear liquid that like shoots out.
Thankfully, this hobgoblin turns his head at the last moment and brushes the poison away before it can take effect. But he's very pissed off that you're up in his business. As
It
he
only
rolled.
looked as if like I spit on him or something. And like, round these strange creatures up. I can handle this one. He tells Unut and Salpu.
Alrighty.
It's beneath Narixat's notice.
So let me get this straight. You have missed with an attack and did 1 poison damage that he avoided with his con save. Lily is
He's
impressed.
putting on a good show, okay?
Alright, Lily's gonna charge up here. She can't attack this round, but she's got her sword out.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts singing a song from Switchfoot, I Dare You to Move.
Well, Pig, this hobgoblin is going to drop his javelin and pull out a sword. As he starts swinging wildly at the one who spat at his face. Something barely intelligible. Does anyone speak Goblin here?
No.
Nope.
Right. Well, you get the sentiment that he's trying to get across is probably not nice. As he misses, you're able to duck away and deflect his blows easily. Othukkax.
I had a language not open left. I will think about it, but
Sure. And for full disclosure, Maximilian knows Goblin as well. And Max is going to try and shoot again. And he's going to miss wildly as his arrow sails off into the hillock behind the goblin. He's doing pretty well as well.
Welcome to low level, boys.
Eifer.
Well, not being one to be left behind, just going to run up and as far as she can, but charging another firebolt to blast.
All right. This time the hobgoblin raises his shield just in time to have it scorch against whatever weird marking he has as an emblem. As he's just desperately trying to defend himself from all sides.
Question, am I flanking with Othukkax per your rules, or do we have to be diametrically opposed?
You'd have to be diametrically opposed, but
Okay.
I think you guys got this.
I just wanted to make sure I knew what your rules were on it.
Othukkax.
Othukkax is gonna try to grapple him, or no, make him go prone with athletics.
Alrighty.
Yes.
Roll athletics.
Ooh, nice.
And raw athletics check from
And
this
going
guy.
prone on a mount will force him to fall off, which is good. And then he will be prone.
Natural 1?
Oh, it's better. So, Othukkax, you try to grab at this hobgoblin's arm and leg, and like grab at his shield maybe. And in this in this tense moment, you guys are just sort of baring your teeth at each other as it's like this slow shaking, who's going to submit arm wrestling moment. And the hobgoblin, making an unexpected twist of his shield, just wrenches free of your grasp and swats you across the face with the shield to get you off.
Man, I love
As
this
he
first
beat you by
impression.
1.
Yeah, next level, it's expertise there for me, so.
Yeah, so he pulled a dirty trick on you. Lily.
Lily's gonna sidestep to get advantage and is going to whack this guy and is going to not use a trip attack, and hopefully that kills him.
So, Othukkax, just as you recover from your face being swatted by the shield,
She aims at his head.
you see the leather armored chest of the hobgoblin suddenly spring this bar of steel through from behind, as it looks very surprised and looks down as dark blood starts welling from out the side of it, and yeah, the light goes out of its eyes.
Othukkax goes ahead and headbutts him with his helmet. For good.
Please have him roll an attack.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I guess it's strength. So any of my weapons would do.
By the way, this yak.
Then I will just
There
one
we
damage,
go.
plus 3, I guess. I'm just gonna check. Strength, no, plus 2. So 3 damage.
So whatever weird expression this hobgoblin was trying to make in the last moments of your life, you crush it under your forehead. As yeah, that executed him for whatever seconds he had left in his life. And the yak is trying to book it away. You guys can take attacks of opportunity on it if you like, but it's not attacking you guys.
I will grapple it as my weapon attack.
Okay. Roll athletics.
Now, because he's a size larger than you, that'll be at disadvantage.
Yeah, 15.
Just a moment. All right, so this yak is really panicked. It smells blood. Its master just died. And it was already put off by Lily just screeching in its face before. I won't say screeching. That makes it sound shrill. Bellowing in its face.
It was a deep screech.
And as you're trying to grab at this thing's horns and neck or whatever you're trying to do to restrain it, it is just pulling away like it's got like this new lease on life. And it is, to be fair, Othukkax, you are a strong individual. You are a warrior. But this is a very large bovine creature, a very strong combat mount. And, you know, if you've ever wrestled a horse before, you might be able to get where this is going. It's basically, it slips free and is just running like hell and possibly dragging you behind it. If you try.
Othukkax just starts laughing. I guess he will, if it permits him, try to scale the mount. Because
Roll a
it's
climb
interested in,
We don't have climb.
what?
Oh, right. That would be athletics then, wouldn't it?
Either athletics or acrobatics, whichever you think works best.
Yeah, whichever.
Take that, beasts. I am your master now.
Right, so I know there are rules for climbing on monsters, but I'm pretty sure that's going to pass, whatever the rules are.
There's a rule in the DMG, I believe, that it's basically treated like a grapple, so it can throw you off with an acrobatics or athletics.
Okay. Well, in that case, it's still contested, so I'll give you another. I'll give it another shot.
But I guess this
Oops,
is not
that's a
me
wrong
trying to like grapple it, so I guess the size doesn't really matter this time, maybe.
Okay, at this point you manage to grab onto it before it gathers speed, and you're able to get up to where the hobgoblin was mounted. But this thing's still moving, so
Interesting.
I'll say we're out of combat now because the axe are just running away.
Lily's gonna try to find
I
the
will,
javelins while Othukkax is playing around.
I have. I will actually use. Let's see here. I have a level 1. I have a animal friendship, and I will use a normal bard slot to not have it be snakes only, and try to calm this creature down.
Okay. Did you hit the cast spell button so I can see the thing? Or the description, rather? Alrighty. So this is a spell with verbal and somatic components that you are trying to cast while on a very upset creature that is running like hell.
Okay.
Let me just figure out what you'd need for whatever is the equivalent of concentration here. Oh wait, yeah, there are concentration checks. Make a concentration check while you're trying to cast this spell.
It's a Constitution save. There you go.
All right, that'll be enough. So you make it about 80 more feet, another turn's worth of this yak just sprinting away, and you manage to soothe the creature to a slowing stop. It is sort of like kicking around and being very very upset still, but at least it's not panicking anymore.
Oh there. I guess Othukkax lowers his face down to its ear and like starts whispering in Infernal. And I guess it like opened its eyes a bit, like it has seen something. Othukkax was far away from the party when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I caught one. Look at it.
Good job.
So Othukkax knows how to ride a horse, right?
I would imagine so.
All right. So this creature's pretty stubborn, but it seems, amiable to be led around. It is a trained mount, and now that you've told it you mean no harm, it seems to be okay with you riding it. You got yourself a battle yak now.
Ha! Excellent.
So,
How useful it is dependent upon how useful a battle yak is to you, which you may or may not know yet, but you have it.
Othukkax is happy about it at least.
so
Seems more like dinner.
Urut, feed this one as well, or Xalpu. It eats grass, isn't that right? It's not a meat eater, I assume. Directed at the natives.
Roll nature.
Othukkax.
Oh, actually, Lily, you rolled pretty well for actually figuring out what the battle yak was.
yeah.
So you would know that yaks, in particular, you need to feed them grass. You cannot feed them grain like regular animal feed. Yaks are not. They can't sustain themselves on that.
They like beef
Othukkax
jerky.
is holding it by the mouth and looking at his teeth and stuff. Yes, grass eater are you? And he pats it on the nozzle.
They really like beef jerky.
Yes, yes, we can eat it later.
How many javelins was I able to find?
So You threw like one of them, right?
I'm looking for the enemy ones that they threw.
Well, they don't
Okay.
count as ammunition, so ammunition rules aren't as like applying here, I guess. They
Yeah,
count as weapons.
each of the hobgoblins had 4 javelins each.
Oh, nice. So I'll
Okay,
just.
I would like to have some as well then.
Yeah, you can pass them around.
Do you want half of
Eifer,
them?
what are you doing while this is going on?
I'll probably just use a second wind to heal 1d10 plus 1.
As you wish. And as you guys are wrapping up and
I'll do the same.
just dealing with the aftermath of all this drama, you hear the pounding of actual hooves coming across around the hill. And Jalpu points out to the east along the road and says, "Men on horses, Esda Knights, master." And wheeling around the hill, once I get to the right layer and put them on the right layer.
Clay, you mind if I take a few of those? Okay, you'll
Yeah,
take
I had
mine.
some before. That is why
So I'll take
I
3 of them.
gathered my. Yeah. Take 8.
8?
Yes, I thought like 9 plus 8 is 17, so
Okay.
we split it. Or if you are imagining you won't use them as much as
I
I
won't
do.
use them very much. I've got a bow. So I'll just take 3 of them. You can have all the rest of them.
Yes, okay. I have 14 then.
Mm-hmm. And coming up to your carriage along the road is a group of mounted guards. They appear to have the emblem of the Kurum County on their shields as they slow to a stop and say, "The raiders, they struck you. It looks like you're able to fight back."
Yeah, they weren't
Of
that
course I did.
good. Oh, right. He wants to talk.
That is most fortunate. We have been trailing these ones for a while. Our patrols have been stretched thin in this county. Who is in charge here?
Me.
And the leader of the guard procession looks you up and down in your bloodied great sword and armor. You look like you mean business. It's just like, who are you? What is your business in this land?
I'm going to insight him.
Roll.
What I'm looking to find out is if he seems to be trustworthy, if he seems to be allied with my father or not.
All right, so there was no recognition of you in particular in his eyes, or any of the guards' eyes, as they're looking over you. They seem to be, distracted a bit by the elephant in particular. There's also no sign of apparently being in your father's employ. These just appear to be county guards. But what you do notice with this insight check is that they're all very tired. Their eyes are sunken in, and they've got these sort of wild looks on their faces, almost as if they've been in action for a while.
I'm under orders from Duke Edmund Calwin to liberate whatever town it was from the goblins.
You're here to help Pascali.
Yes, I think. That's the right town, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pascali.
You're a sight for sore eyes. We've been asking for help for the Duke for about a month now. How many men have you brought?
She looks around.
I count as 10.
Well, I brought these men. Sure.
And
A
he sort of
prince.
looks around, sort of his eyes darken a little bit. But he looks back to you. These roads are dangerous. Those ones may have been just scouts, young ones, inexperienced, but there are more out there. We'll escort you to the town. What was your name?
My name's Lily. What's yours?
My name is Thomas. I just lead a group of guards here. We've been on patrol for a while, but the mayor will want to speak with you.
Well, lead the way, I guess. I would like to speak with the mayor as well.
All right, so these guys take up position around the carriage and escort you guys. They look over their shoulders quite often, just in the wilderness, just constantly hyper vigilant. But there are no more raids that you see, or any raiders around the place. But as you draw in on Pascaly and sort of get into the agricultural parts of it, you can see that there are a lot of gutted, burnt-out homesteads, a lot of destroyed fields, and a few dead bodies on the road. This place seems to have been cut apart, but it's kind of ghostly. There aren't really any other. You'd expect to see people tending the fields and people, driving livestock and living out their lives, but there's just no people out here.
Hey, Tommy, I can call you Tom, right?
Thomas will do.
So, Tom, what happened here?
About a month back, a battalion of hobgoblins set up camp on the outskirts of the county and have been running raiding missions. They came out of nowhere and they kidnapped quite a number of important townsfolk. They've been holding them as hostages over us and taking what they like. We've been trying to keep patrols up to destroy their raids, but we just do not have the manpower to take every one of them out.
And the Duke knew all of this?
We've been sending
Othukkax is
messages
here to
since the
save
first
you.
raid. Sorry, Othukkax?
No, he just said, worry not, Othukkax is here to save you.
He's a prince.
A prince?
Hmm.
He sort of looks a bit dubious about that. A prince, surely you would have an army at your back to deal with these scum.
I'm sorry to say I lost the army a while back. I am trying to build another army. You could be my first man. Do you want to come?
I am oath sworn to my liege lord, good prince.
I will work on that. And he nods.
It's the funny thing about armies, they're so easy to misplace nowadays.
Maximilian looks at you guys dubiously. Good God, Thomas, we will be here to help. Do not mind too much the prince. He is of a foreign land. He just sort of dismisses. And if you guys have nothing else to speak with the guards about, then
As we're getting closer at basically every burn field that we pass, you can see Lily's mood just continues to darken, especially now that she knows that her father knew about this the entire time. She does not look happy.
Right, so as you close in on Pascaly, you see it's not an especially large town. It's not the county capital, but it is still, with a good probably 1,000 in population, you could estimate. The road becomes paved with slate as you approach, but this place is packed to the gills with fortifications that have been set up really haphazard and just sort of really quickly. There are palisades up. There are wooden stakes up. There are sentinels out looking out onto the fields. All these guards, all similarly looking stern and tired and wide-eyed. They look very sleep-deprived, working alongside militia that look to be like the townsfolk, with pitchforks and improvised implements in their hands. This place looks like it's been raised up in a state of high alert and combat readiness for quite a while. As you approach the gates that they've set up, there are a number of uninterred hobgoblin and battle yak corpses that are covered in flies. They've been there a while, and amongst them is what appears to be an enormous dark-furred corpse of a wolf, which looks to be rotting as well.
Does it look familiar? Nature, maybe?
Roll nature or history.
Better at history.
You know that wolves can get pretty big, but you also know that they tend not to get this close to cities or towns and settlements just out of nowhere. And I'm just going to get Max to roll history as well.
Quick question. Would we have had a short rest on the ride?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll take you guys over an hour to get there.
In that case, if you are taking hit dice, you should add a d6, right?
I'm just getting back my spent items.
Okay.
Because I get a bunch of stuff back on short rest.
Yeah, but if you want to use hit dice, you get the extra d6 because of my
Song of Rest.
class ability. Yeah.
Just bring you guys to Pascali.
I think everyone's at full health right now because Lily and Eifer both have second wind to heal us up.
Cool. Considering the state of the town, Othukkax wants to do a bit of a performance about riding into town with the big elephant and greeting people to bring the spirits up.
Question: how hard can I facepalm before I take damage?
Probably into the second verse before you know start bleeding.
Lily is not impressed.
Yeah.
I imagine it's a wonderful cover of Disney's Prince Ali from Aladdin.
Yes, I guess a performance check is in order.
Yeah, go for it.
Man, if only I'd helped.
All right, so as you guys sidle into town past the gates, with Thomas's clearance, you guys can push the carriage and the elephant through, and the battle yak even. And this place is very crowded. You see now pretty immediately where all the townsfolk have gone. They've all sought asylum within these fortified town defenses. And everyone's, milling around in sort of crowded and not the best smelling conditions, even for a peasant's town. There's a lot of coughing, a lot of murmuring, and over this din sings Prince Othukkax, this wonderful heraldric title of his to announce his arrival. And he draws a lot of eyes, even with the elephant in front of him. But they seem to be really confused by the appearance of this shiny-haired guy and his elephant
Yeah.
riding
I
in on
think
a battle
it's-
yak.
Yeah, I think he's standing on Latroxat as we walk into the town. Like broad-legged, or like, yeah. And Salpo is at the front, at the like base of the elephant's neck, but he's like standing and like kind of drumming on a drum, doing his performance.
So as he's doing this, Lily is gonna, after face palming gratuitously, is going to sidle next to Thomas and say, "How's the food situation in this town?
We have food left.
For how long? You said you've been doing this for a month."
We've been able to keep stores up with foraging, but we have been running out. Perhaps a week and a half left, unless we get more supplies.
She proceeds to curse loudly in Dwarvish.
Does anyone here know Dwarvish?
No,
No.
or at least not yet. I had that language I forgot to assign. He will have to learn it later.
Okay. There's like this one dwarf family that you didn't spot until you said the word, that all just like turn their heads, and then the father just claps his ears around, like claps his hands around the kid's ears as they just give you a dirty look as you pass by.
She'll say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you," in Dwarvish.
They just squint at you. And I'll actually bring you guys to Pascalia itself. It's just an image map.
Nice. What
Bring
kind
my
of
notes
people
forward.
do we see here? Is it a fairly wide mix?
It appears to be primarily human and elf here, with a more leaning towards elf. You do spot but after taking a proper careful look at it, you do spot quite a number of halfling families around, and a smattering of other races, but that appears to be the general makeup of this place.
And I had to swear in front of the one dwarf family. All right, gotcha.
Yeah, dwarves are like about 1 in 25 around this place, so they're around every corner, but they're not as common as the other races.
Yeah, I imagine there might be some like shortish half dwarfs humans as well, and then people who know dwarvish as well, maybe.
Handful of half elves and so on.
Yeah, and as we said, this place, this setting's sort of mixed, so the languages are more tied to ethnicity and sort of sub-nation rather than race themselves. So you could have, the dwarves, they'll come from a general area and ethnicity, which has a nation that speaks Dwarvish. But you could also have dwarves that have been in Esden for several generations and don't know Dwarvish. But as we proceed, you guys push past the throng to eventually get to a large steeple roof building, which appears to be the town hall.
Before we get into that, what kind of shops and so on are in this area? I'm just trying to get an idea of what the merchant situation is here. Like, do they have people coming in and out and so on?
They do have some hawkers around. Most of the crowds are around these carts that the guards are currently making sure are very well protected. They appear to be handing out food, emergency food. but there are markets here which are selling various implements out of various stalls and stores. You see you see smoke coming out of a forge nearby. You can probably find blacksmith at work.
Mm-hmm.
There is what appears to be a herbalist shop, and there appears to be a tanner at the stall selling leathers around the place. You can probably find particular shops that sell particular things if you look hard enough and ask around enough.
All right. Lily's gonna talk to Othukkax in Draconic, because she overheard him speaking it before, and say, just keep the theatrics down a little bit, okay?
It's good for the people to be spirited.
You know what's good for the people? Food. They don't need this right now.
But it did not cost anything. I don't understand your problem, but whatever. I will follow your lead. You are the Duke's daughter, after all.
Yeah, let's
You
keep
are
that
in
a
power
secret
here.
too, okay? Prince.
Why would we keep it a secret? You're powerful.
Yes.
You have prestige.
And if someone knows, they could try to kill me.
Ah, I see. So there are people out for your life then. I know that situation very well.
She just kind of sighs and keeps walking. I
I
love
will watch
Othukkax.
your back if you watch mine. Lily.
Deal.
I will make sure you don't die. I don't suppose you will watch my back as well then.
Hey, who killed the 3 bad guys? She just gives him a smirk.
Yes, I'm very aware of your skill in battle. But everybody has to sleep sometimes.
You watch my back, I'll watch yours.
Yes, that's how it should be set up.
So she
Very
turns
well.
to Thomas. Is that the city hall up there?
Yes, yes. If we're lucky, Mayor Basson isn't getting shouted at by the next guild in town. And you guys come up to the town hall. Thomas speaks to the guards out the front. And you guys are left waiting only for a couple of minutes before the guards beckon you in. And inside, it's a lot quieter. There aren't many people around here. And running up to all of you, flanked by a couple of possible guard officers, is a dwarf. A nervous-looking dwarf. His forehead is shining in a sheen of sweat. He's got this pointed grey beard, relatively short hair with a balding crown at the back of it, and he doesn't look to be a man of athleticism, but at the same time, he isn't obese or anything. He's just plump, and he pulls out a handkerchief to wipe the sweat away from his brow, and slows to a stop in front of you all. So, oh, thank the gods you're here. We thought the Duke would never answer our messages. Excuse me, my name is Mayor Basson. I am the leader of this town at the moment, and I'm told that you are servants of the Duke. May I have introductions?
Of course. Pleased to meet you, Master Mayor. I am Lady Lily Calwyn, daughter of Duke Edward Calwyn, whatever his name is. I know names. I'm good at this.
Yep.
Uh,
The mayor's eyes widen a bit at that.
why did I not write his name down? Okay.
It's in the letter.
It's in the letter.
And the mayor sort of stumbles over his words a bit, and his jaw sort of opens and closes rather quickly without saying anything. The Duke's daughter? I haven't seen you since you were barely up to my hip. The last time I was up in Samak for the feast at the crown, and it is quite an honor to meet you, my lady. As he does the usual supplications to the physical supplications to bow at you, and
Please,
you know.
don't. Please. I am at your service here.
Well, this is quite a relief. Have you been filled in on the situation? I take it. Thomas the guard has told you a thing or two. We've been in a desperate situation for quite some time, you see.
His information has been quite commendable. I recommend you give him a raise immediately. He told us that you've been asking for aid for a whole month.
Yes. We hadn't expected anything especially quickly because the whole kingdom is stretched thin with this horde at the gates. Everyone, all the levies had to be filed out. That's why we're so undermanned, and we would not assume that the Duke would allocate his resources in any way except for the betterment of the entire duchy. And you must understand.
The betterment of this town is to the betterment of the duchy.
Quite it is. Thank you for saying so. Before we continue, perhaps you might introduce me to your entourage here.
This is Father Maximilian.
Max nods his head.
This is my good friend Eifer.
Cutsies.
And this is some guy from another land.
Prince Othukkax, Maximilian says. Then there sort of double takes at Othukkax. You must apologize. It must be a land which I have not studied in great detail. I'm afraid I do not recognize your name. The Prince of where? You there, Clay?
I think my microphone was a bit
Muted.
no, like the socket was shifted a bit.
Okay.
Yes. I am Prince Othukkax from Ratu. It's in the south. It's a very important country.
Yes, I no doubt it is. You are all welcome guests in this town. Pascali, I dare say, has needed as much help as it can get.
I do have some bad news for you, Mayor.
What would that be? We've
The
had
help-
enough bad news as it is.
The help that the Duke has sent are the 4 of us that you see in front of you, as well as the 3 servants that come with Prince Othukkax.
That his sort of tightly nervous, sprung up shoulders sort of deflate as as a dejected wave overtakes him.
But I swear to you, upon everything that I am, I will save this town.
I see. Well, Abadar started from small things. We can make something out of this, I'm sure.
Now, I've been asking Thomas as we came in, your food situation is beginning to grow dire. You have people in the streets that smell terrible. You have no one farming, I assume because of the raids. And it looks like you have people fighting over what limited resources you have. Is that the truth?
Mostly, yes. Public order has been quite intact. Everyone's been banding together. This is, after all, not an especially large town. Everyone's been helping, but I dread to think what will happen when the food situation starts getting below, people's willingness to carry on.
And
It's
that will happen in a month or a week or two.
yes, that unless we forage, unless our hunters and foragers are quite heroic in their efforts, but I fear the land may not provide quite enough for it. The problem is that we have sent word to Count of Kurum for food and aid, but he says it is too dangerous to bring caravans down this way with the roads so choked with hobgoblin raiders. We can't get anything in and out.
Lily just kind of puts a hand to her head, trying to think. I'm not good at this planning. Father Maximilian, what do you think we should do? Should we fight more? Or should we go to the Count? Or we got to do something.
Max sort of raises an eyebrow, looks left and right, with a small frown on his face. Mayor, what is your current strength in men? Mayor Basson stammers a bit and goes, we have perhaps about over 100 standing guards and levied militia. We can get a few hundred more. So Maximilian nods. He considers for a moment, says, do you know where the hobgoblins are encamped? Yes, we do, sir.
And what are the numbers?
Flush them out and attack. Roland, the captain of the guard, he knows the specifics of all this situation. I'm not a military leader, you see, but I am told that it is a battalion size, so several hundred hobgoblins. They can't be in great scale. So why haven't you attacked them? The mayor sort of goes quiet for a bit.
It's risky, Father Max. If their numbers are even, and the hobgoblins are trained stronger than these men are, especially if they're bringing up a militia, it's risky. A lot of people could die.
Well, if I may, Lady Lily, the point more is that our reticence to attack has been because they have held quite a number of us hostage. The last time we tried to march up to their gates to demand that they leave, they tied a number of them to stakes on the perimeter walls, and including my dear wife Viridia, and they threatened to kill them if we didn't back away.
Lily begins to swear in Dwarvish, and then she stops herself and switches to Draconic.
Perhaps if these hostages were to be led to safety, you would be more likely to attack? The mayor sort of blubbers for a bit, and we would do it without hesitation. We must clear out these creatures. There is no other option we have.
So, did you really walk up to them and ask them politely to leave?
It was just not very polite. It was quite demanding, quite forceful. We came with force of arms behind our backs. These hobgoblins, they only respect strength. We knew that much, but they had leverage over us.
Well, now they have more leverage, Mayor.
Yes, this is. I do not pretend this isn't a dire situation. We look. I think this whole situation it's beyond my means. Perhaps you can get around and figure something out.
What do you need us to do first?
I think it would be quite a prudent idea to go and talk to the captain of the guard. He has been drawing up plans for weeks now, and though they may be quite desperate plans, we are in desperate times. He can tell you more specifics and perhaps point you in the right direction. And maybe if there is more information about the general area that the townsfolk know, there are many goat herds and shepherds and scouts and foresters around that have been taking refuge for quite a while. Perhaps they could tell you more.
Yes, little man.
Well, that seems like a good place to start, at least. Do you have any accommodations for us, or should we continue to pitch tents every night?
I fear the inns are quite full, but I would not allow you to go camping in times like this when there are hobgoblins roaming about the countryside. No, you may sleep here in the town hall. It is going to be rather crowded with the refugees, but we'll be able to find space for you, and you may take my bed. Even it is not a duke's household as it's such, but my humble abode is still fitting for someone of your station.
Listen, Mayor. Do not think of me as the Duke's daughter. I'm just a fighter. That's all I am.
Yes. Let Othukkax have the room.
I knew that was coming.
Othukkax, make a persuasion check, please.
Can Lily just turn and glare at him?
Nothing stopping you.
Othukkax nods towards the man, the short man.
My Lady Lily, your humbleness is quite a virtue, quite virtuous of you. Yes, my good prince, you may, of course, take my quarters for this time.
Thank you. It will be appreciated while I am taking my throne. I will think of you. Maybe even send you a gift.
That is quite generous of you, sir.
Most likely that gift is going to be 13 pounds of elephant dung, but let's go find the captain of the guard.
He double takes again as you guys turn around. But he doesn't, he just drops the issue.
Alright, let's head on out. That's great.
Okay.
Elephant dung can be quite valuable, you see. It can be used as fuel.
Yak dung can be used as fuel as well.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
you can use it to put
fertilizer.
in your gardens. Yeah.
Also can be used to build houses. It's quite interesting, actually. My servants can tell you more about that.
Oh, I'm sure that I don't need to know more about how to build houses out of dung, but thank you, Prince Othukkax.
It was my pleasure.
Taking the mayor's bed. Anyway,
He's a prince.
You're free to join me.
I'm sure I
Whatever you
am.
want.
I'm sure. I'll
A
feed
bit,
you some
what
of
would you
that
think?
elephant dung on the way. All right, let's head on to the captain of the guard.
Very well.
Bit, were you saying something before?
No, Eifer was just remarking about him being a prince and not everything that entails.
Mm-hmm. So you come up to the guards' barracks, which appears to be a sort of wooden makeshift keep at the moment. Guards are coming in and out on a regular basis. People are sort of carrying around supplies, chain shirts that have just been barrel rolled to get the rust off and all that kind of stuff. It seems to be quite a bustle around this part. And again, Thomas gets you into the dwelling, wherein you are led to a room with a number of quite frustrated-looking men leaning over a map of the county between them. One of them, with a resplendent red coat, has both his hands on just staring down at the map, and he looks up at you. He's got long black hair and a quite well waxed moustache and a not to be trifled with look. And
Not to be trifled with moustache.
oh yes, you'll not be trifling with that moustache. And he regards you all, sort of his eyes settling on Eifer for a little longer. Particularly Eifer, you know when people are looking at your horns, but he doesn't look for much longer as he sort of sizes you all up.
You good there, sir?
Who are you?
Hi, Cap. My name's Lily. I was sent here by your mayor. And we are to discuss your plans on helping fix this town.
Are you mercenaries? Where have you come from?
We were sent by Duke Calwyn.
At that, he his eyes linger at Max for a little bit longer, and a flash of recognition comes over him. I know you. I cannot place where.
This is Father Maximilian. He's one of the priests in our duchy.
At that, his at mentioning Maximilian, his eyes sort of light up a little bit, and so you must be from the Duke. You are one of his knights, then. Max says, not anymore, but I am here to fight. Well, we need men with skill at arms all the same. The rest of you look hardy enough if you come in with well-equipped stations of yourselves, but have you come with anyone else?
Not much. The Duke is, how did he put it? Rather busy. And he sent me to aid in any way I could. As I told the mayor, I am duty-bound to see this mission to success, and I will not leave until it is completed.
But of course. Duke sends his daughter down, gets him. Right. Well, if you are here to help...
Side note, she hasn't mentioned she's his daughter yet.
Yes, that is correct. If you are here to help, then perhaps I can tell you exactly how this situation is. We have propped up against the mountains an encampment of hobgoblin raiders. They are led by a fight-mouth, an officer of great martial prowess. She is possibly the rank of lieutenant colonel amongst the equivalents of our own command structures in the Imperial Army, in the King's Army, as it were. She has been leading raids to terrorize this entire county for coming on a month now. We have to flush her out before we run out of food. I dare say it will not be an easy fight. She is a cunning strategist and has on her walls currently a number of townsfolk that would be fantastic for lowering morale if they were to bleed.
Yes, we have heard that much from the mayor. This lieutenant colonel, what kind of fighter is she? What does she prefer to use?
We have only a couple of eyewitness accounts to where she has been in the fray personally, but she is unlike the others that are formation fighters. She makes an example to the others by fighting on her own, surrounded by quite a number of able guards, and handily fighting all of them at once. She does not use a shield, only a spear, and occasionally a sword, and is not heavily armored, perhaps not armored at all. She moves unnaturally fast. We suspect that some pagan ritual has granted her some kind of power, but we have not been able to bring in experts on the matter. All the same, she is currently in command of roughly 350 hobgoblins, possibly including several wargs, a squadron of bugbears, and one or more warlocks amongst their ranks.
Well, that sounds fun.
A worthy foe.
You want to fight them, Prince?
Well, I am not stupid. I won't fight them all at once.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. The mayor said you've been working on a plan.
Yes, I have. Now, perhaps you can explain to me how the Duke thought that a bunch of well-sheltered, well-fed high folk such as yourself were going to add to this plan. I have been sent platitudes upon platitudes up until now, with all due respect to your ranks. What I need are men. What can you do for me?
With all due respect to you, sir, we are all you have. So either
does not
you can
answer
make
my
use
question.
of us, or you cannot. And if you will not make use of us, I will find a way to make this town safe with or without your help. If you doubt my abilities, I challenge you to fight me and prove me yourself.
Roll persuasion. Or intimidate, whichever angle you're going for.
Persuasion. She's not trying to be angry or anything.
Okay. So with that roll, the conviction that you bring forward makes the guard captain sort of straighten up a bit. And he seems perhaps not surprised, but satisfied that you've responded in a way which respects his intelligence, rather than, just listing off noble ranks and expecting to be treated specially. At this, he sort of thinks for a moment, brings a thumb and a forefinger up to the edge of his moustache and looks at the map, twirling it. Listen, we need those hostages out of there. There may be a way into the camp. These hobgoblins are disciplined, but they are not always thorough. I will be launching a dawn raid on them in due time. If you can get the hostages out of there, that camp is as good as ours. I can smash aside those hobgoblins with my eyes closed.
But you need us to get the hostages out first.
That is correct. My men will not fight with spirit while they are threatened.
One question. How deeply are they kept? I'm just thinking, if we go in there, trip over a sleeping guard or something, the whole camp wakes up, they kill the hostages, they kill us, game over.
Current scout reports that a good portion of their camp is above ground, nestled up against the mountains. with a wooden wall, none too tall, ditch, regular defensive structures sprung up as they do, and a portion of their camp subterranean. We know not about what is under the ground and in the mountains, at least not where they are camped.
So most likely the hostages are kept underground someplace. Is that what you're saying?
It seems most likely. We have not been able to spot anything over the top of the walls, apart from their yak pens and a number of tents.
Bully. So,
Another option, perhaps, if you are feeling particularly suicidal,
oh yes, please tell us.
these hobgoblins, they respect strength. Often their chain of command changes hands merely by fights, whether between gangs of factions or between individuals. That is why the fight mouth, her name, I believe, being shouted out as Dalgo Fang. She displays her martial prowess not out of any particular... Well, let me put it this way. She would not be in her rank if she was not as skilled as she is. I, and none of my best men, could best her or champions of her. But if you are willing to risk it, you may be able to challenge her best in an agreement to get them out of this land, or at least to break their morale. However, that puts you at a significant risk as well, for they have been known to turn deals against people. They do not see honor in honesty as much as we do. And as well...
So you're saying we should go in there, challenge some guy who's probably going to kill us to single-hand combat, and even if we do succeed, they're not going to let the hostages go. That's what you're saying?
They may let the hostages go. Their only demands for the hostages to be released is that we bring better fighters to the fore. If you ask me, they've been ordered to try and spread the king's army thin by drawing more troops out here. That is what all these raiding groups are doing. But perhaps if you answer them with strength that they can respect, they might be willing to do one or two things for you, though they will try to turn everything else against you. Of course, if you can run in and kill as many as possible as well, that will be a help. Although I dare say you would wish to hold on to your lives.
What do you guys think? Eifer, Othukkax?
Considering their lives, I would not want to fight her. Otherwise, it would be a worthy challenge.
It is a worthy challenge, I'll give you that much. Eifer, what are you thinking?
I just hate for the hostages to remain there much longer. I prefer we get them out safely and surely.
That is also a good option. I say we do that, or?
So you guys prefer the sneaky in route, go in there, try to not disturb anybody, and if we trip over somebody, the whole guard comes down and kills us.
I
rather
have
than the single
another
combat.
option.
Oh.
I can convince one of them to let them out.
Let's put that in as option C.
Max
Do you not
pipes up.
trust me? I am very persuasive.
Max pipes up a little while. All of these options are equally viable. What we need is an angle upon them. If you wish to persuade them, you will need to give them a reason for us to be persuasive. If we
I don't
are
need a reason. when I persuade people, they give me things.
You know, these hobgoblins, I don't know that much about hobgoblins, but I do know one thing. They don't give a crap about for few other lands. They don't care about the South or whatever gifts you promise to send them. Your normal
There
persuasion
will
tactics
not be
ain't gonna
no
work
gifts
here.
involved. They will do it because it's me.
Oh
As
boy.
I was saying, all the options are viable. We need an angle upon them. If we wish to sneak in, we must find a vulnerability in their encampment structure.
Yes.
If we wish to sabotage them, if we wish to thin their numbers, we need a position upon which we can do so without being surrounded and killed.
My other concern is, I don't know if you noticed this, but we're not exactly that quiet when we're stomping around in this armor.
That is true. I could hear you from outside the room.
So, you wouldn't happen to have any really nice armor that I can stomp around in that wouldn't make me die, but would also make it so that they wouldn't hear me, would you?
The captain blinks in thought for a little bit. We are not equipped for infiltration missions here in this guard. However, there are individuals in this community that profit from remaining unseen. I'm not talking about criminals within, but rather people who hunt in the wilderness or try to trap creatures, like, you know the type, the foresting type.
Yeah. Rangers, right?
There are one or two, I'm sure, that I know of, perhaps more.
I'm just thinking if I get, well, there's no way we're gonna get breastplate at this level. Well, we might be able to, but it would be quite an achievement. Chain shirt's gonna drop my AC by 2. We could probably find one of those someplace. So, in character though, what is the deadline that we're looking for? When do you need these hostages out by?
Starvation, I assumed. That was the main stickling point.
Yeah, we'd rather not have the whole city starve. That would be great.
So it was 1.5 a week or 2.5 a week. What did that
The
short man
captain,
tell me?
the captain of the guard speaks up. I will be launching my surprise attack in 4 days from now, at dawn, whether you have acted or not.
So we have 3 days. How far is it to the camp we're going?
If you are taking the right paths, I would say 5 hours from town.
So we have 2 days in town.
Quite.
Well, Captain, thank you. I think we have to get busy now. Not like that, Prince.
I do not know what you are speaking of.
Never mind. Let's head on out.
I will be seeing you.
You
And,
will be seeing me.
Prepare my room.
Let me just get notes up real quick. So, you guys have a couple of days. You have secured lodgings in this town, which is a bit desperate. You have a few options on what to do. Where would you like to proceed next?
I'm gonna let someone else talk for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Eifer, you got any plans?
So, should we go
Uh,
out in the wilderness and hunt these down just for some training?
That's one option.
I would ask what about how much how long in the day do we have?
Yeah, what time of day is it?
You've arrived about 11 a.m. here in town,
So
so it's almost midday.
So we got plenty of time today to do stuff.
Yep. I mean, there are a lot of people in this town. You guys could ask around about more information about the area you're trying to get into, or just, what's been going on.
So, these small towns, are they very common?
Are you asking Lily?
Lilo or Eifer, doesn't really matter. Maybe Eifer for change.
Bit?
One second. Hold on. I need to do a thing real quick.
Okay,
So
that was not good.
So I think what we probably want to do is get more information, of course. Maybe try to get better equipment. I don't really have a ton of money left over. I don't know if anyone else does.
No, I spent most of mine.
Yeah. So we've got
Can sell a
3
yak.
people. Yeah, elephants and yaks or elephants and servants are expensive. We got 3 people, I think, with heavy armor. Max, does Max have heavy armor?
He has light armor.
Okay, so we have 2 people with heavy armor. Right, Prince?
Yes, this is the equipment I have. It protects me.
So
It also has my charms on it.
So, if we're trying to stealth in there by ourselves with heavy armor, we're going to fail pretty quickly. We could try to send one person in without heavy armor if they're good at stealthing, but I think that's basically me. I don't think anyone else has stealth, right? Eifer, are you sneaky? I don't think Eifer's sneaky.
I will let you guys know that I'm not doing the stealth system where the one party member who's shit at stealth ruins it for everyone.
Uh-huh.
It'll be I'll get you to do all rolls individually, and I'll average the result.
Okay.
Sorry. I am heavy armor and I
Oh. Right, because fighter.
have meh stealth.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you don't
same
have
here.
good decks. So
Yeah.
you're bad at stealth. Othukkax has heavy armor. I have heavy armor. Max is not great at
Othukkax.
stealth. So we need to find someone who can stealth in if we're going to be doing that.
I was planning on having one of these hobgoblins do that for us, and then we can escort them from the edge of the camp.
I mean, that's a good plan, but that's also very, very, very persuasive. Even with magic, that would be difficult to do.
I will say
it's,
that Max has like +3 to stealth.
Okay. So like I have +4 at disadvantage, so I'm decent at it. But I need a different
if we
set of armor.
can capture one of these hobgoblins I could try to persuade them. Just give me some time alone with them, and they will probably do what I ask them.
The other
So-
thing is we need to have some information about the place itself. So we need to
Yes.
find these rangers or survivalists, whatever, and
Hunters.
try to get some information from them.
You over there. He
Just talking to a random peasant.
yes. Where are the hunters in this town? Where have they bunked up now that the forces are inside?
A thin-looking man sort of tries to avoid your gaze, but then he sort of knows you're looking and talking at him. Sort of stops for a bit.
Yes.
He points at
Yes,
himself.
look at me. Give me the
Um,
information.
Uh, excuse me, sir. The hunters say they've taken up lodgings in the various inns, I believe. If you ask around, I'm sure you can find some.
So you're saying
Yes,
we need to find
that
a
is what I am
tavern.
doing.
Well, if taverns are not your type of fare, sirs and madams, perhaps you might ask. Perhaps you might ask the furriers or the butchers around the place. They take in hunting game.
Look at us, we're fighters. Do you think taverns are not our fare?
I've only just met you, my good guest to this town. I don't want to assume nothing.
Where are these furriers?
I'll take you to one right away. Just follow me.
Very well. Thank you graciously.
And in this, I would like to encapsulate an investigation check from you guys.
Group effort?
Okay.
Sure.
Keep a watch out. I spend one for helping somebody. One of my bardic inspiration dice.
Oh, nice. Who are you helping?
Cool.
I was thinking of helping the one of you with the best investigation. But you were fast.
It makes sense that you'd assign it to the person with the best investigation mod.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
+0.
+3.
Eifer does.
+2.
Roll a 1d6.
So
All right,
17
so-
investigation.
With the good prince's help, Eifer leads the questioning of various townsfolk, trying to narrow down where there might be someone who knows about the area, and specifically looking for foresters and hunters and people who frequent that wilderness where the goblins have camped. And how do you approach these people? Is it sort of with a air of authority, or just sort of we're trying to help here, or how do you guys address the townsfolk here?
Well, if Eifer is leading the charge, I think Eifer probably should say how she's addressing people, right? Or do you want one of us to lead the charge and then you ask the questions?
I mean, Eifer would probably be leading it really friendly, like. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically not authority, but trying to be friendly with them.
Yeah.
I guess the other characters could like talk, and you were the one picking up information.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, Lily is gonna try to be one of the folk for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Equipped and armored as you are, it's a bit difficult to look the part. However, you can speak the part. And even with the occasional person giving, the side eye to Eifer's race, you guys find enough amiable folk. In fact, it seems a bit odd to you, Eifer, that there are as many people who are willing to openly speak to you as you might have thought. These people, whether by desperation or by whatever culture they have here, don't seem to regard you with as much suspicion. And you guys come across a couple of interesting pieces of information in your search. The first being that there is one ranger around who owns a set of boots that may be able to help you sneak around. His name is Wallace, and he's a very reclusive kind of guy.
So you're saying we have to go find Waldo?
Wallace, not Waldo, is not dressed as conspicuously. But another couple of pieces of information. There is a gnome goat herd called Yankovico, who is he drove a herd of goats through that area that the hobgoblins have been camping pretty often. But he's been drinking himself silly lately, and everyone's been sort of talking about him easily because he's kind of a public nuisance at this point. However, he does know the area specifically better than anyone else. And finally, as you guys are searching for Wallace, some people seem to glance around when you ask for him, almost as if like they're a bit unsure about all this. And unless you'd like to see a Yankovico first, trying to find Wallace will require a persuasion check.
Just one
Sure.
person, or should a couple people roll?
All of
I
you can
guess,
roll individually if you like.
We could roll with one with advantage, I guess.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. What is your persuasion?
Mine's +5.
Okay, mine is +6. I guess you can help Othukkax.
Yeah, I'll pretend that latest roll didn't happen.
Okay. Do you?
Or we.
You could
Yeah.
bardic inspiration too if you wanted. So.
I think you
No.
got this, guys.
Yeah, I think so. We're a pretty persuasive party.
Mm-hmm.
There you are. All right, so finding Wallace
Oh,
is a
side
bit
note.
difficult.
Could I insight why they're acting so hesitant?
You absolutely can.
All right. I'm making use of my +0 mods here.
Well, you roll pretty well.
I do pay roll 20, just so you know.
Just that little bump in your favor. I'll say that you can definitely read a couple of the townsfolk as sort of constantly looking you guys with suspicion, looking for various and sort of asking probing questions as to why you want to find him. And after a while, they seem sort of satisfied with your answers because you're answering honestly. You're trying to find him so you can sneak into the hobgoblin camp and get some pointers or like borrow his boots or something like that. But you get the feeling that they're trying to hide him for some reason. But you do eventually find Wallace, and you find him talking with a Fletcher nearer to the southern side of town, outside of a shop, And I'll abridge this because Wallace is not a NPC that I fleshed out too well. But he asks you why you're here, what you're doing, and what and I guess what are you guys asking him?
Can we have your boots?
You know the area, right? We
I'll
need
make a
to
voice for this
know.
guy. The guy who knew the area was the goat herder, right? This guy was just the one with the stealthy boots.
Yeah.
All right.
These boots are my livelihood. I'm sorry, I can't give them away.
That does make sense. They're probably pretty expensive too, huh?
They are not for sale.
Well, let me put it to you this way. We're trying to go into the goblin camp, and we're trying to save all the people who were there, held as hostages. And if someone hears us, they're probably going to kill us. And then all of our livelihoods would be kind of ruined. So, is there something we can do to help persuade you to give us your boots? Or at least let us borrow them?
He sighs. Look, you haven't been rude to me or anything. These boots are very precious to me. If they were to be lost, I would be ruined. My ancestors would frown upon me, and
Lily's
it's a
going
great
to
risk.
take off the ring that she has. She's going to hold it out to him.
It's your signet ring, right?
Yeah. Do you mind if we trade, then? This ring is very, very precious to me as well. It's a symbol of who I am, my livelihood. And I promise I will bring them back in one piece, as long as you hold this ring.
He looks at the ring for a good long time, and I think and Max speaks up. So that's a signet ring, boy. And he suddenly understands. He didn't recognize the emblem.
My name is Lady Lily Calwyn, daughter of Duke Edmund Calwyn. I really want to help this town. Please let me help you.
Oh, I see. If you're serious about helping this town, then I will only ask one thing. If you want to borrow these boots, and you do not have to give me your ring.
Oh, thank all of the gods, because that would have been really bad if you sold it or something. Whew.
There is a glade in the autumn wood where there are people who they are not smiled upon by the duchy, but they care about this county as well and its people. And the hobgoblins have been making very much their lives hell. If you can go to them, they may be able to help you. And if you return at all without being scathed, then I will know that they have accepted you and I can trust you as well.
How far away is this glade?
Not long at all, maybe half an hour from the town. Anyone can roll insight if they like.
Yeah. Who was talking? Sorry, I interrupted someone.
I think it was maybe just me. I don't know.
Okay, maybe. Sorry, I thought I heard Bet or someone trying to say something.
Okay. Is Othukkax rolling insight here, or?
No, he doesn't care.
Okay. So Eifer, you're a little confused by this guy's behavior. You've only known the Autumnwood as, this setting of very horrific fairy tales. But Lily, if there are actually people in the Autumnwood, they are probably hiding from someone. And it starts to piece together to you that these guys might be outlaws of some description. They may be highwaymen, they may be smugglers, or they might be pagans. And judging by the way all the townsfolk seem to size you guys up, it seems pretty likely that these guys are going to be pagans of some description, and you don't know exactly what that's going to entail.
Can you tell me a little more about them, Wallace? Are they going to attack us on sight, for example?
They will not attack you on sight. Not if you approach with care and respect.
And how do they know that we will be approaching with respect? What can we do to help that?
If you keep your weapons in their sheaths, if you do not attack any of the animals or plants around you, and if you do not disturb the wilderness and its order, despite your presence, despite your ways, then they will let you pass. And if you call for them, then they will understand you're trying to find them.
And how will they feel about Father Maximilian being with us?
Wallace's eyes go to Maximilian's holy symbol. You're a Rastic, right? Max nods his head. If you are not there to purge them, then they will not be adverse to you. The Abadics are not fond of these people. Erastics, much of this town is Erastic. That is why they are accepted. But it is only by virtue of goodwill, not by any law.
Who are these people?
I think they're much like you, Othukkax. Just people who don't really belong here.
Who are you to say who belongs where? Not
Very,
I, not you.
very good question.
I
So
stand
anyway,
here on this ground, which means I belong here. That is reality.
and they stand in their ground, which means they belong there.
Yes, that is my philosophy.
Yes. That is not my
But
father's philosophy.
no, not your countries, I have noticed.
And that's
Interesting,
probably
folks.
why they live in the woods.
A good place to leave us, any?
Thank you, Wallace. I'll be back for your boots.
You may borrow them if you have proven yourself trustworthy. All the best.
Hey, guys.
All this work for some boots. Why don't we just attack? Not a good option, I know.
I mean, you can feel free. I'm sure with your elephant and your 3 servants, you'll just blend right in with all those hobgoblins.
I doubt it.
So
I
let's
am
find
much too tall.
So let's find those boots instead.
Okay. I reckon we'll just take 10 minutes real quick there. I gotta get a drink.
All right.
Cool.
See you guys in a bit.
All right, I'm back. Is anyone else here?
Yes, I'm here.
I'm
Hola.
loving your character, by the way, guy. We're having some great banter. I love it.
Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm loving the interactions.
Yeah. I
Um,
have noticed myself that I tend to roleplay better when I do very out there characters rather than serious types, because
That's the
it's
most
easier
fun.
to just like live them rather than be silent and brooding without like slightly silly characters I can almost play while like letting the hand off the wheel, so to speak.
I think it's funny
Yeah.
that Lily is playing the straight man more or less in this, because she is not designed to be the straight man. uh, but it's working out. She's still mostly fitting how I designed her. I'm loving the characters, by the way, Mutton.
Yeah, yeah.
Great NPCs.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll run out of voices eventually.
Well, that's fine. Like I've told you, I can't do accents at all anyway, so I just use the same voice for everything,
That's fair.
except for that one character. You know that one, you guys.
Yep. Good old Ren. Oh, Rill.
Rill.
That's the name, yeah.
Uh,
All right.
by
Quick
the way,
question.
oh, go ahead.
Is anyone watching the stream?
Is anyone on the stream? I don't think so. No, it's just me. I'm mostly just have it up so that Asta can hear later on.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Having
If,
a
Otherwise, would have said hi to
recording
the
is
people on the
nice.
stream.
yeah, if anyone
Way
was
back.
watching, I'd be probably typing with them more or less. But for you other two, by the way, I know that I talk a fair amount. Feel free to jump in at any time, and I will try to shut up. Unless that's like something I really have to get out, which happens once in a while. But just please interrupt me if you want to say something.
Yes.
I don't
Of
want it to be
course.
the Lily show, because that has happened before.
Othukkax is a character who is willing and able to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It gets a bit difficult for you, 16-bit, I think, because your microphone's quite quiet.
Yeah. I've got you cranked up to 200% and it's still quiet.
Same here.
But yeah, if you want to say anything, just jump in. I'm perfectly fine. If I don't hear you, just yell at me to shut up, and I'll eventually hear you. I'm sure eventually, one day.
Just scream at us. We'll let you talk.
Ah! But yeah, I don't want to step on anybody. Lily is designed to be charismatic, but we have at least a few charismatic people in this party, so.
All right, you guys ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
So, you guys are heading out to the glade.
Yes.
Right. Othukkax, is your entourage coming with you?
No, not this time. They are taking care of the elephant and like cleaning my room.
Oh, side note, did we hear more about the other group of people that we were asking questions about?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The other group of people we were asking questions about? The hunters or whatever.
Your search for hunters and things basically brought you to Wallace.
Okay.
But you guys follow the path out to to this glade. It's not awfully deep into the autumnwood, but as soon as you guys set foot in the autumnwood, it doesn't take long before there's this sort of cloying feeling in your noses. It's sort of like this place is a little bit overwhelming in just how, dark and still very lively it is. It's difficult to know to keep your sense of direction here, not just because you can't see any of the mountains past all these trees, but also because everything seems to look kind of the same. You're following this path that Wallace pointed out to you, and you're not sure in its many twists and turns whether you're going to be able to navigate back across country unless the path is still there. So it's a little bit unsettling here.
Well,
However, before too long, you come across something which breaks up the pattern of the trees. It appears to be the ribs of some large creature lost to time, perhaps the size of the town hall itself, just that big, and its ribs are sticking up, still intact in the cage. There are no other bones that you can see. They're probably all buried under the earth. But at the end of the rib cage is a smooth stone obelisk that, as you guys approach, lights up with these green runes. I'll put you to the image now.
remember, Othukkax, please do not touch your weapon.
So what would you guys like to do?
Comforting.
Destroy the obelisk.
Take out the warhammer. Rush it. Do I detect evil on the obelisk?
You're a paladin now.
I can do it actually. I will. Othukkax will do just that. And
Detect
the
evil?
surroundings, I guess.
Now,
Specifics. Divine sense.
divine sense, yeah. So yeah, like I said, this forest is very cloying in your nose, but it is not the smell of evil, and it is not. You don't sense anything which seems undead, unnatural, demonic, or even celestial, or anything like that. This place is just mossy.
Is this place consecrated or desecrated as with the Hallow spell? That's the last part of that divine sense.
This place, right, they don't have a neutral version like they did in Pathfinder. Yeah, I'll say this place is consecrated ground.
Yeah. This place has been purposefully blessed as a proper site of ceremony, I think. Then it's a different feel from my home, but yes, I can sense it.
Father Max, do you know what, if any, religion this would pertain to?
Well, let me have a roll, just a sec.
Yes.
Now, pagan cults are as varied as they are common, but they tend to seclude themselves. They do not keep records. Something like this, it's a worship of some natural spirits, perhaps. I do not feel that is a worship of some evil entity, though We cannot know without meeting them.
Do I
What
recognize?
is evil and what is good? That is also always the question.
That one's-
Othukkax, if you read in further enough, you find that whether evil or good are merely labels, there are creatures in existence which define them.
Yes.
Do I recognize the runes at all?
Let me just a sec. Roll religion or arcana.
Couldn't persuade you for history.
This is not something in the history books.
All right. You just did religion, so I will tap upon my immense knowledge of the arcana and roll a 10.
These kinds of runes are definitely used in ritual of some kind, though you can't place your finger on exactly what.
Yeah, sounds about right. Eifer, how about you? What do you think?
I don't know. Can I investigate the obelisk for any marks? Like, has it been is it like in one piece or anything, or is there?
Yeah, sure. This stone pillar, this obelisk sticks out like a sore thumb because it appears to be made out of a sort of dark, very smooth stone, which hasn't been weathered at all. It's got a bit of moss around the base, but its surface is fairly clean apart from a bit of dirt. The plinth that it's on appears to be just a sort of decoration around it. It's something which sticks into the ground some ways, you can't tell. As for what its purpose is, what it's there for, is more the realms of arcana. Okay. So you know a little bit more than Lily does. This runic setup appears to be a means of communing with something extraplanar. So this definitely that pretty much confirms that this is something pagan, because this is not an erastic nor an abbatic way of communing with gods at all.
So it's some
However,
sort of prayer altar.
yes. And you also recognize enough to say that this is not associated with any demonic entities or evil entities that you have read about.
Lily's gonna reach up and touch it gently. Specifically on one of the runes.
Mm-hmm.
Bold move.
Are you wearing a gauntlet at the moment?
Well, she's got not full plate, but split mail. I assume it has metal gauntlets.
Yeah, your fingertip doesn't do anything except the metal, when it sort of traces across the rune, it sort of flickers out for a little bit until you pull your hand away, then it charges back up again.
I'm going to take off the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Othukkax will just shout, "Anyone there? We
All
are
right.
interested in your stone. What does it do?"
And she'll reach out again unless she hears something.
You do hear something. There is a sort of a toothy snicker above you. As I get onto the layer, I really need to learn the hotkeys for changing layers on this. Sitting on top of one of the large rib cages is a green-skinned creature with a knife and various bone accoutrements, decorations. Its nose seems to be an artificial thing, like a carved wooden false thing that's been dipped in, or like charred and blackened. And it's just looking at you, grinning. What's
Hello
it
there.
thinks it does?
Well, contacting the powerful ones, right?
Another voice behind you. He does powers, does he? Looking for powers, is he?
Not specifically. I have my power already. And my path is the prophecy.
He has powers with prophets and words. He doesn't like our words, maybe he wants them gone.
What words are
I
your
have
words?
no problems with your words, little. What are you? What are your names? I am Prince Othukkax from Ratu.
One by one, these creatures reveal themselves, all looking very happy with themselves. And almost in an uncanny manner, all these creatures, they speak out. We's the woods and winds and leaves. We speaks for hymns that is the same.
Which hymn do you speak for?
And walking around one of the larger trees near the obelisk, clearly into view, and feet crunching the leaves on the ground, is a horned woman with green skin who appears to be wearing a black linen gown and moving quite gracefully, deliberately catching your attention.
Hello there.
To answer
Othukkax bows.
questions of the metal men's and ladies. He's got no name. He speaks his name only in the wind and the leaves and the trees and the grass.
So his name is...
That's like his middle name, I guess.
Okay. We were sent here from a guy named Wallace.
Wallace is funny. He has big nose. He has big ears. He has big knife. All these creatures up in the ribs and around the place are taking turns speaking, even though they have big ears, big noses, and big knives of their own.
We heard you are some sort of outcast in this society, and I would like to make that right somehow.
Outcast is cast out of home. We are home here, not outcast. We're here at home.
Exactly as I spoke before. Everyone belongs where they stand.
You metal men's and metal ladies do not like us, so we stay away. There are some who are nice up in Pascali, but we keep to ourselves. They keep to themselves. By the way, Eifer, have you seen any other tieflings before?
Can't say they have unless they've been visiting the castle of the Dutch.
Mm-hmm. I doubt they would, because the Duke is kind of a big name, and tieflings are fairly ostracized
He's
in
also
general.
kind of a big butt.
Yeah. Speaking of which, not of big butts, but of tieflings, you're pretty sure this woman's a tiefling. You'd spot a tail hanging out of the bottom of her gown, and the look of her.
The town you spoke of is in great danger right now, and we're trying to help it.
Pascally hungry, Pascally huddling, Pascally scared, Pascally shaking.
Do you know the people who are attacking them?
Fiery goblin men. They come, they claim the weak.
Have they burned your woods?
They've burned, they've chopped, they've slashed, they've hurt. They've killed, they've bled, they've taken us.
Do they have hostages of your people as well?
Good friend Honey Wasp. Good friend Honey Wasp is a guest in their prison. Good friend Honey Wasp is clever. He could get out. But good friend Honey Wasp was burnt and beaten when they dragged him.
Yes. These armies, if I understood it right, they tend to rope up a lot of small, not to diminish you, beings into their service. Am I correct?
They has big, they has small, they has everyone. They takes anyone they can bully, then bite and hurt.
Well, I certainly do bite and I hurt, but I will not join them.
He comes not to take us away. He can't take us away. Not in home, not out here.
My home is far, far away, so I am not here to take anyone if they do not want to be taken. I am looking for volunteers, though. If you want to join me to move southward.
All the creatures hanging around the place snicker and giggle. Metal man, always power and more. Metal man knows not where we have come for.
On the other hand,
No, I do not.
I do not plan to take any of you, but I would like to bring your friend back. And in order to do that, I need to convince Wallace that I am a friend of yours. And so I would like to be your friend.
What's Wallace to you who can get the goblin men away? What's Wallace to you that can bring Honey Wasp back to us?
Wallace has a pair of boots that should allow us to infiltrate their town and potentially get the hostages back safe and sound.
The tiefling woman reaches around her back, and when her hand comes back around, she's got a pair of boots in her hand. Wallace Boots makes him quiets in the woods. Wallace Boots makes you quiets outside of Goblin Men camp?
That's what I've heard.
We must speak in whispers. And just a moment. They all gather and huddle and speak and, snicker at you. And if the few words you do get probably pertains to some feature of your face that they find ugly or attractive. But they do seem to be deliberating. Are you guys just waiting patiently, or? are talking amongst yourselves.
I do not think
Curious. Are
Othukkax. Go ahead.
these things common here in Eston?
These ones? No. I'm not sure who they are. They look sort of like goblins. But she looks like Eifer. Just a little more green.
Yes, I noticed. I can feel it faintly on you, Eifer, as well. The traces.
I'm glad that Wallace told us not to attack.
Traces of the past.
I do not think these folk will come with you. They are very much tied to their homes in the trees here.
Yes, I noticed. But I can always ask, and it will not hurt.
Unless they take offense.
In that case, I'm ready to fight. But it was not meant that way. Specifically.
So they break their little conversation. Unless you have a comment to all this before we...
No, go ahead.
Cool. And the tiefling woman steps forward. These and the friends thinks you fine, talking fine like metal men do. But we thinks you make promise to us. Promise to friends of woods and leaves and trees and wind and grass and animals and all. Two things. The first, you bring Honey Wasp back. Honey Wasp is friend to us. Honey Wasp is good person. You bring him back alive. And if you want boots, well, you get them the same way Wallace did. For us, you tells us a joke, you does us a dance, you do something fun, you make us laugh or smile or anything of the kind, and you have boots to borrow. Perhaps more, if you does so very good. What would you like to do?
Thank you for your hospitality. I cannot promise that he will be back alive, but we will do everything to make sure he is. But if they have already killed him, we can't bring him back.
Promise is true to metal men thinking. We does as actions. You bring him back alive, and you are fulfilled. You bring him back dead, you did your best. You kill him yourself, we know and we remember.
That's fair. I like your way of thinking. This is... Man. You should be a duke. Duchess, I guess. You do a good job talking and...
A duchess is a metal woman. I am not a metal woman.
Metal's overrated.
She looks at your armor and weapon and everything. You are very modest. But
You wanted to hear stories, I heard.
Oh, this guy has stories. This guy has all of the stories.
tells us something to make us smile, make us think, or make us laugh. Make us anything fun.
You see, I am following the road of the stories, and I am the king, the emperor, and the man who will lead. And
Who-
these are the stories of that character in the past. I will tell them to you.
He tells us
And,
Metalman stories. Metalman stories fun. They're bloody. They're full of gore.
And they all sit down and sort of cross-legged, patiently waiting and in anticipation and very excited.
Othukkax starts like drumming, and it is not as nice of a language because he has to translate it, but it's all told in like rhyme and like a long story.
Mhm. And for some odd reason that you guys can't place, even when Othukkax speaks some common, which doesn't really make grammatical sense or like any sense at all, but he knows what he's saying, all of these creatures in the tiefling don't seem to complain. They seem to just understand.
Okay, cool. Just gonna check some things out.
What's the gist of the story that you're saying?
I guess it begins with like it's various Odyssey-like quests that a character like aspecting the like king did. So meeting people and having like adventures there, like besting a big like cyclops or some giant creature.
Awesome.
With guile and then with sword.
That seems appropriate for a performance check.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just checking out if I have anything to boost this. Don't think so. Do we have guidance? Maybe not.
Just a second.
I don't think bards can inspire themselves either, right?
No, sadly not.
I gotcha.
Yes, so I will roll performance. Wish me luck.
Luck. Is that a D4?
Okay.
So a 15.
All right. So, the D4 is from. Sorry, is that from what?
Guidance.
Guidance.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So, with the sort of guidance sharpening your memory and your pronunciation and sort of, the tone that you bring across, you're able to really project your voice. And with every twist and turn of the story, these creatures, which you're pretty sure are goblins, but unaffiliated with hobgoblins, these are very much pagans, they all sort of, grin and smile and gasp at the various twists and turns and all the actions. And if you pause for suspense, you can see that like the pupils of their eyes just quivering in anticipation for what's going to happen next. And the tiefling woman is also sort of smiling and grinning, a bit more subdued than her friends, but definitely still invested in the story and still like, cross-legged on the ground along with them, looking kind of childlike in that way. But you very much entertain them. And by the end of the story, whatever climactic event happens, whatever the tone of it is very much just all over these creatures. Just if it's a sad ending, they're all crying, or if it's a great ending, they're all clapping their hands and whooping and cheering and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely make an impression.
And as such, wouldn't it be fair to give the hero or the king character these boots to aid in his quest? I am building a story of my own, you see.
The goblins start turning their heads. Tanglebraid. Tanglebraid's boots. Tanglebraid thinks things. Tanglebraid wants Metal King to succeed. Tanglebraid sees Metal King. Metal King fan. And the tiefling woman slowly rises from her seat and grins and says, "Metal King Othukkax." Oh wait, sorry. Did you guys announce? Do you announce you announced your name, didn't you?
Yes, of course I did.
He always does.
Yeah. Metal King Othukkax makes us smile, gives us life, gives us friendship, gives us entertainment. Metal King Othukkax can borrow boots. We'll get them back after. And she, with a boot in each hand, extends them out to you.
Yes, thank you. Very grateful. They will be of utmost help in this story ahead.
Tanglebraid likes pranks. Wonder what Tanglebraid did. Tanglebraid did something.
I think that warrants some kind of check of
Yeah.
insight or
Roll
investigation.
perception.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to tell. You don't need insight to tell that these guys are kind of, snorting and snickering almost as if something funny is going to happen.
If I can roll as well.
Yeah, sure. Othukkax doesn't perceive anything out of the ordinary, but Eifer and Lily hear something rattling around in the boots, like stones or something.
Yeah, Othukkax pretty much just looks inside them and looks about them. Not really having any suspicion about anything.
Hey, Prince, can I borrow those boots for a second?
Yes.
She's going to dump the one that she hears the rattling in, trying to dump the stuff into her hand.
Okay. You find a handful of seeds, like really big seeds, something like the size of macadamia nuts. And they have these little barbs on them that would probably look like they'd be like stepping on Lego. And Tanglebraid and the goblins look a little bit dejected at this. Like, "Aww, metal woman ruins the joke."
Lily chuckles a little bit for them.
It would have been a good joke, I can tell.
You guys like pranks, huh?
I will change the story to include them.
Yes. The tiefling woman that they're all referring to as Tanglebraid. I'll reveal a nameplate now, actually. She says, "All good jokes come to good ends anyway. Them's good seeds. They's wrecks walls. They put holes in things.
Ooh.
If yous can't climb walls, yous can plant them, and the walls will part for you."
Quickly?
Yes, with some water.
So you guys like pranks, huh?
Very much we likes pranks.
Want to hear a story?
Another story. Ooh, he luckies.
So Lily is going to start explaining her encounter with Countess Gianna. Whereas she had come in quite late to a meeting with the Countess Gianna. Her dress was stained and covered in soot after she spent far too much time in the smith shop. And her father was not happy. The Countess Gianna was also not happy. Very, very proper, very prim. And began to insult her for her appearance. Lily called her a manner of names that shall not be repeated here. And
Tanglebraid and the goblins would very much like to hear the names.
okay, Lily would explain all of the names in all of their glory. But basically, to keep it PG, called her ignorant of everybody. And she then took Countess Gianna by the shoulders of her dress and smashed her face into a lovingly crafted pavlova. As far as Mutton wrote this.
Mhm. I'm not sure. Is a pavlova? A pavlova is a thing in the rest of the world. I'm not sure if the rest of you know what it is.
It's some sort of either pastry or pudding, right? I'm not
It's
really
like a
sure.
hybrid of a pudding and a cake.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's not something I have very much of up here, but I've heard of it in passing.
Yes, the story is very well received. All the names like draw laughter, and what you did to, chuck her face into a dessert was something very gratifying. They thought it was just hilarious. They laughed for a good minute before they had any sort of trace of calming down a bit.
And that's why I'm not a typical metal woman, Lily says with a kind of grin on her face.
Metal woman strong, metal woman funny, metal woman honest. Stick up for people.
Yeah. And that's also why I'm here.
She dunks heads in more noble women's to desserts here in Desperate County.
No, my father didn't like that. So he sent me here.
Oh. So you's outcast.
Yes.
We sorries to hear. But you's nice to us. We's no outcast you.
Well, maybe if I fail in my mission, I can come back and live here.
A metal woman would have to see her metal go away. But if she's willing.
Metal's overrated.
I have nothing on under this armor.
Please keep it on. Please keep it on, Prince.
And he was in the making of taking it off right then.
No.
No, I guess we're leaving then. I thought it was proper if we stay that I would honor the request, but I see your point.
We can honor the request when we have something on underneath our armor. How's about that?
There is no shame in my body. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. Ugh.
There's shame in your body. Too clean. Too well oiled. You roll around in moss and muck. Then you'll be good.
Certainly, I will try that next time we meet.
They all snicker and, snort to themselves.
Yeah, a little rolling around in the dirt doesn't hurt anybody. Unless you're a Duke. For some reason they're allergic to dirt. I don't understand it.
That sounds like a funny story.
Max pipes up that we should go along to help your friend Honey Wasp and the rest of the hostages. We have taken enough of your time.
Time spent, time used, taken up. It was time for fun. But Metal Man's time is precious. If yours takes your time, then yours takes your time wherever you like.
Sadly, we don't have enough time to spend with you for long. We have a deadline.
Yeah, some of the goblins look a bit dejected, but Tanglebraid nods to you guys. Funds to meet. Sees you again, maybes.
Does your god have a name that I would know him by?
Maybe's he given name in books by metal men. Here's we tells you his name over and again.
Out of character, you would have to go studying to see exactly what this pagan god is.
It reminds me of Aristil, but I'm 90% sure it's not.
Knowing what Maximilian has told you about the Erastic faith, this is probably not Aristil.
Yeah.
These people seem very much whimsical and sort of disconnected from those teachings.
Mm-hmm. Lily's going to reach out to shake Tanglebraid's hand.
Tanglebraid, she, well, what should we do? She sort of, she lifts up your hand as if to kiss it like a noble man would, and then she spits on the top of your wrist and then grins at you.
That's nice. I was going to trip you. But I think you got the upper hand on this one.
There's like a dead 2 seconds, and then all of the goblins suddenly fall on their backs laughing like they've never laughed before.
I want to come back, but for now we should leave.
Tanglebraid's nose. Nice to seize. All best on hunts, and on missions, and metal men business.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so unless you guys have any other business with Tanglebraid and her goblins.
What should we call the seeds, by the way?
Call them... I hadn't actually come up with a name for them, so give me a second.
So we have the sneaky boots.
Yep.
And
You can call them Wallace's sneaky boots or something. And the seeds, call them the Gateway Creeper seeds.
Okay, and about how many do we have? One use or...
You have 1 use worth of them.
Okay. Put those in party loot.
Mm-hmm. You do that.
All right. Does anyone have identify?
Nope.
Sadly not.
Bit, do you have?
Nope.
Okay. Let's head back to town then, I guess. Or we should go find more about the goat herd, right?
Sure. Now, you don't have to... Actually, yeah. Make an investigation check to try and find Yankovinko. But this is not a hard check. This is very easy to do, so unless you all roll horribly. Okay. So again, Eifer knows which questions to ask. And and as well, the Prince Othukkax is very compelling with his questions. Like, where is the drunken gnome, or whatever it is?
That was Lily. Where's the drunken gnome?
Yeah.
There is a very small person that is constantly drunk. Have you seen that person? Where is he?
Oh, Yankovinko, over there. And they point in a general direction.
Yankovinko!
and,
Pleased to meet you again.
I'm imagining you.
I didn't intend to get...
I'm imagining you looking at like a scarecrow or something, going Yankovinko!
Yeah. Everyone, it's not... You ask around a little while because it's a bit hard to see him at first, but then you start to realize as you get closer to where people are pointing and sort of triangulating it, you can hear something in the over the din of the crowds, just a sort of weird crying that's it's sort of a moaning that's intermittently interrupted with the sounds of goats bleating, and you thought for a while that it was just, oh, someone's had a bad day, and separately, oh, there's a goat nearby. But then you realize it's coming from the same voice.
Okay.
And as you guys go between a couple of buildings, one of them being a tavern, which you're getting dangerously close to, you find this gnome slumped up against the wall, just to the left of the party here. He's just going, and then he takes a swig of this skin, and he like reeks of booze. So, little polypy, little daisy, thank God I remember their voices. I always say that voice.
Well then, this guy looks weird. Maybe his name is
Time
Al.
to sober this little man up. And Othukkax walks up and will try to lift him.
Oi! Hey! Hey!
Hey,
What's
little
a man like you doing in a place like this? You invade my land! I'll show you exactly what the Metal of Esden is! And he swings his tiny arms ineffectually against you, like he can't even reach your face from here.
Hey, little man, I'm gonna dip you in some water to sober you up.
Who are you
Go ahead
calling
and
little?
him up.
I was the largest brother of all my siblings, I'll have you know.
Okay,
I could
big
wrestle
man.
a cow to the ground.
He looks like it.
Astonished I am. Interesting. But you're still gonna have a little dip.
Is there a water trough nearby or anything?
We'll say there is. It's a little bit dirty, but you need something to wash the sense into this guy. Make an athletics check. He is struggling pretty hard. It's like,
Can I help
step
him?
down and face me in single combat. Are you a man or a cow? I will make sure to find out.
Can I help him?
Yes, you may.
Or do you want to help me? I have +6. Or, okay.
You guys managed to do it. You dunk this guy's head into the water and pull him out. You sort of... What is this substance? Max, it's water.
Dirty
I
water.
don't believe you. It is an infernal cocktail from the depths of hell.
No, I think that's what you were drinking before.
No, that was lemonade and spirits.
Eh.
My favorite drink.
Can Lily steal his skein?
Make a sleight of hand check.
Oh, she's not being stealthy about it. Can she just wrestle it away from him?
Sure, make an athletics check.
Okay.
So you twist it from his grip. He says, "Oi! You spilled my drink so hard I cannot feel it anymore."
I'm going to take a swig of it.
It is... make a constitution save. Alright, so you taste this thing and swallow a little bit of it, but then immediately spit the rest out. This is not lemonade and spirits. This is like, this is probably some sort of cheap homebrew, like potato liqueur that's really just a mix, like, but it's not like vodka where it just burns so much you don't mind that it tastes bad. It just tastes bad and it's weak, and it almost makes you gag.
Oh, Yankovico. I need to find you some real liquor. This stuff is bad.
Yes.
My good lady, I see you're a wealthy woman, so I will of course let you court me with your wonderful beverages.
Yes. That's entirely my intent. However, in order for that to happen, I need something from you first.
Are you into things which are a little bit out of common practice?
Yes, very much. Deadpan, by the way. You remember the hobgoblins?
Hobgoblins. Just his mood immediately darkens again. Oh, the hobgoblins. They came with spears and swords and cut off all their heads.
Of your
They
cows.
spoke to me.
Goats.
They are not cows.
Your
They are
goats.
goats.
That's
And he
right,
seems
you wrestle
extremely
cows.
offended.
You wrestle cows. That's right. My bad. I'm sorry. They killed your goats.
They made such screams. Such haunting screams.
Did any sound like...
You sounded just like little Lavender.
Poor Lavender.
She was just a kid. He bursts into tears.
Is there any chance that any are still left alive?
I saw everyone killed. Everyone dragged away.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but these hobgoblins, they've been a menace throughout all of the surrounding area. And we want to free all of the people and perhaps animals that they've taken alive. Could you help us to prevent some other poor farmer from having their lavender taken away?
What can this failure of a goat herd do for you?
I heard you knew something about the way in, perhaps, about the area. Did you see it?
I saw their camp while they were setting it up. That's how I lost my goats. They were too curious. I barely escaped. They would have eaten me.
Can you help us find a way in? A way that they won't see?
Well. Listen. I've only been understanding about half of the words you've been saying. But if you can get me a meal, perhaps I am a bit light on coin. If you can get me a meal, I can show you where the where the trail is, which goes around the mountain to avoid the patrols.
We can do that.
Okay, excuse me, I'm feeling rather queasy.
She holds his beard out of the way.
His beard is like a goat beard, just like Will's got there.
Of course it is.
I don't know if can you see his token at the moment?
I can see his token, but it looks like it goes down below his neck.
Yeah, it's not especially long.
All right. Yav.
Yes, that is his last name. Just thinking at the moment.
Othukkax, can you send one of your men to get him an actual meal?
Yes. I guess I have my servants now that I am in town, maybe. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he will Unut, give the man a meal.
Yep, Unit is a little bit reluctant at first because Yankovico, not only does he smell, but he looks like his queasy. This isn't the first time he's been queasy today, and some of the evidence of that is on the cuffs of his clothing.
You don't have to stand near the man. Just leave it nearby.
Yes, master. We will find a good place to get some food.
Yankovico,
And,
how much would a meal that you are looking for cost in here?
I would say that I am looking for the best meal available. I settle for nothing less than the freshest vegetables and fruits, and a nice braised hock of beef to myself. Roll inside if you like.
Yeah. Anyone else feel free to join me on this.
So, Lily, you've grown up in a fairly well-off household, to put it very mildly. Even though you've been in touch with the common populace enough to know that, they don't have the same food that you do. It's still a sort of mental habit of yours to assume that it's easy to get your hands on food like that. So you at first don't really see it as much of an issue, even though your logic eventually catches up with you and makes you realize, hey, it's pretty hard to get food around these parts anyway right now, so that'd be impossible. Eifer, you pretty much instantly understand that this guy's trying to pull your leg. He's just trying to milk you for a big meal, like a really proper big lavish meal.
Well, I suppose we could talk to the mayor. Maybe he has something like that.
I'm
It's
sure
possible.
our friend isn't as, especially during these times.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
What was that bit? Your friend is what?
No.
Sorry, I got some food.
Never mind. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So Lily's going to hand 5 gold to who was it that you were sending?
It was Unit.
On it. She's going to hand over 5 gold and say, find this man the best you can buy with this 5 gold. And please bring back the change.
I expect Unit's reaction is going to be with a broad and very amiable smile, because he's just been handed what would feed like 3 people with that kind of lavish description of food.
Yeah, probably. Lily doesn't know how much food costs. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
She knows she gave him enough and probably more than enough, but that's why she said bring back the change.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yankovico, we will bring you the best that money can buy in this town.
I knew you were a good bunch. I think I shall dine with you often.
If you do, I'll need you to be a little more sober next time. Do you know why, Yankovico? It's because I want to teach you what real liquor tastes like. The good stuff. And if you're drunk, it doesn't do any good for you.
You make good points there. Good points. I think next time I can show you my drinks as well. We can start making it a wonderful exchange of ideas or something like that.
Yes, definitely something to look forward to for at least one of us.
Listen, do I got my food or don't I?
Hasn't it come back yet?
And it's going to be gone for a while trying to find food like that.
You'll get your food. It might just be a few minutes. So this path, are you going to take us there today, or are you going to come with us when we? I don't think you want to come with us when we actually want to go there.
I don't think we'll be going now. I'm too drunk.
That's a good point. We could dunk you in the water again.
You know, I've had to think about it. I realized that gesture was rather effective in the short term, but I fear that I might not be able to read maps too well and landmarks and all sorts. I mean, leading 8 people through the mountains at the moment is going to be a bit beyond my means in a long-term sense.
All right, how about this? You are going to be my best buddy the entire rest of the day. You're going to stick with me like butter on toast or something. Okay? And I'm going to make sure that you have nothing to drink until we have gotten to that pass, to that trail. And then I will treat you to the greatest drink you have ever had that this town has to offer.
Can I bargain you for 1 ale?
1 ale when we
In the
get there.
meantime. Can I bargain you for half an ale?
You can have 1.5 ales once we get there.
Can I bargain you for a quarter of an ale?
Maybe a cup of tea.
Done.
All right.
Alright, so you guys have secured the support of Yankovico once he sobers up, which shouldn't take too long. Where would you like to go now?
I think I better buy that ale and a half for him.
You can most certainly do that. The good thing is that though food is scarce, this place is a brewery town, so they are not lacking. They've stopped producing, while they can use the grain for other things, but they've still got a lot in the fermentation going. That means their stocks are quite full.
Barley isn't great for food, anyways.
Desperate times,
Desperate times.
Besides, I like barley salad.
Do we have to go to a tavern now?
I mean, if you want to buy some ale. Just some context for the rest of you. JB was sort of daring me to... he said I would get brownie points as a GM if I went the first session without us going to a tavern.
It's 20 minutes away from the end. You could just cut it here. I'm kidding. We also have to secure lodging for ourselves anyways, right?
You guys are
Food.
staying at the mayor's place.
Okay, so we're all set.
Saltbu, buy me some ale.
Yes, master. And Jalpu goes off to the tavern. Probably with Unut, because Unut's probably going to go there to try and get some food anyway.
Is there any tea available
At the tavern?
anywhere in the town?
There is that herbalist shop. I'll probably have some tea for you.
All right. What other... I know that we have a smithy, we have a leather worker. What other shops of use are there in here that we might want to go to?
I mean, it is a fairly functioning town. Apart from probably quite specialist stuff, you'll find all the general things you want.
Okay.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
No, just looking to see what they have, more or less. Which I guess we can go in more detail out of session or something. But yeah,
If
let's
you
go
like.
to the herbalist and see what they've got in stock.
Okay. They have a variety. It's the proprietor is a middle-aged woman who seems a middle-aged halfling woman who seems very kind to you guys. She looks a bit fallow, probably suffering from the rationing just as much as everyone else, but she still has high spirits. Welcomes you all in. This herbalist shop has all manners of medicines and teas and raw ingredients and the like. You can definitely find a nice tea for Yankovico, and find a place to boil some water and brew it for him.
Is there? Does Maximilian have an herbalist kit?
Let me check.
I think he might have proficiency as a cleric, but I'm not sure.
He does not have either.
Oh, okay.
I think it's druids who have the herbalist stuff.
Might be. All right. What are there any like special effects to anything? Is there any herb here that will help sober him up faster?
Anyone who's helping this out can roll me knowledge, nature, or investigation.
All right. I am bad at both.
Rightio. So Eifer is very good at recognizing patterns. She sees the way this place is catalogued out and pretty quickly spots a group of substances, these weird spices which have various medicinal effects. And you ask the shopkeeper, the woman who's owning the place, what a few of them do. And it just so happens that one of them is a ground, is a spice made of these seeds that you grind up, and they are extremely peppery. And what you do is you add them to like a drink or a food or something. And what it does is it produces a lot of water within someone's stomach, as well as like forcing it down into their digestive system extremely quickly in this weird cleansing manner that makes someone's skin feel like it's getting rolled in poison ivy for about a solid 20 minutes, but afterwards cleanses minor toxins from the body. Nothing that, no like proper poisons or anything, but stuff like alcohol or something like some kind of narcotic drug. It'll flush it from your system. And their use of it is will be 10 gold for a dose.
I only have 6. Anyone want to split the difference with me? Anyone else here?
I'm sorry, my mic was muted.
Oops.
I've been getting some food quick here, so.
Eifer will pay for it.
Okay.
This stuff is called Asmodeus's penance, or just Asmo's penance.
Asmodeus's anus.
Penis, yes. No. It alludes to the sort of Asmodean branch of the Abbatic religion being very sort of self-punishing, and they do that sort of whipping on the back of on their backs for their sins to go away, that kind of thing.
Well,
flagellation, that's it.
Let's brew this tea up and give Yankovico the best drink of his life.
I would advise against that, my friend.
Let's do it. Also, maybe I'll buy like a nice jasmine tea or something that'll actually taste good afterwards.
Yeah, sure. That'll set you back like... It comes in packets of the dried leaves, so probably 1 gold will get you like 10 pots worth.
Okay.
And that's the minimum denomination.
I'll do that.
This is very nice tea.
So yeah, we'll feed him the crappy tea, and then we'll, after the effects wear off, Lily will give him some nice jasmine tea to say sorry.
Right. Yep. So once you have him in like a secure-ish location, you're able to feed him this tea. He drinks it with a sort of amiable, very drunk smile, maybe spills a bit. And then slowly his beard and hair start bristling up as if they're building a static shock.
How's it taste?
His eye twitches and his mouth like puckers in like he's eating a sour lolly.
That good,
It just stays that way. And apart from strained breathing and sort of slight whimpers, he's not looking too good. He sort of tries to get up and sort of starts scratching himself feverishly. And after, soon enough he starts erupting in sort of screams and shouts. But you guys restrain him, and everyone knows Yankovico's a bit weird anyway, so you sort of get away with it.
How many goat brays do we hear during this?
More than you can count. Like some of them you can't really tell whether they're goat brays or just genuinely pained screams. They sort of blur together after a while. But yeah, after soon enough, he's just sprawled on the floor, just catching his breath, and then he just opens his eyes and looks around, sees all of you, just goes, I may have said some things which I regret.
Do you remember telling us about that night you spent with your beautiful goat? No? Okay.
His face is purple already, but somehow it gets more purple.
I've got some actually nice tea for you here. I'm sorry about that. We had to get you sober. But this tea should be good for you. And she's going to give him one of the doses of jasmine tea that she would have brewed up during the meantime.
Mm-hmm. He accepts it graciously and gratefully. I understand. I am embarrassed to say that was not my finest performance. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I'm still trying to piece things together. Did you say something about wanting to get to the Hobgoblin camp?
Yes. You said that you found a secret passage in that you might be able to lead us to.
Less of a secret passage and just one that's, I would say, out of view of most of their sentinels. I'm not sure whether they even know it or not, but I could show it to you, of course, yes.
Do you think by now that the food would have gotten here? An hour later or so?
Prince Othukkax, roll me a straight d20. Okay, not bad, not bad. Unit and Jalpu come back. Jalpu has a skin of ale for his master, and Unut has a pretty well, nicely cooked yak steak, and a few boiled vegetables, but it's not especially lavish. And he regretfully explains to Prince Othukkax, "I'm sorry, I could not find anything more to a higher taste. This was the best I could find."
A higher taste is not required in this case, I think.
Understood, my master. And Unut approaches Lily very courteously and hands back 4 gold and 5 silver.
All right.
What's the food for? Yankovico asks.
This is what you requested in payment for showing us the way. And this,
I see.
She's gonna grab the ale. This is what you get once we get there.
Oh, I see. I suppose I will accept this. Listen, I will take the ale as payment, and the meal is just a gift. I feel I have been trying to. I do not wish to take advantage of you. This is a serious matter.
I'm a very serious person, as I'm sure you can tell. She gives him a
Quite.
smile.
Yes. I understand. And he tears into the meal. Like, savagely tears into it. He has this weird way of chewing where his jaw sort of juts out, and he takes his time chewing with his teeth showing like a goat.
Yep.
He seems to have a great affinity for those creatures.
I wonder if his father or his mother was the goat.
At this point, you cannot rule that possibility out. But yes, you appear to have. Okay, you have worked out all the ways to bring the situation to your advantage that I have prepared as a GM. But if you guys have any other ideas you would like to explore to prepare for this mission, then lay it on me.
Well, I still don't really like our chances with sneaking in there.
Mm-hmm. Othukkax wants to capture Hobgoblin. Possibly.
We probably have to do that once we're there.
Yes.
I would like to get a set of armor that does not impose disadvantage on stealth, but I don't have much money for that.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's like something we can do around town to get a couple of pieces of gold or something, but or if the party wants to donate.
Might I remind you, you guys captured a battle yak.
We did. We could sell the yak if Othukkax is not super attached to it. And that's a lot of food.
What are your feelings on the matter, Clay?
I would need 50 gold for a chain shirt for 15 deck or 15 AC. Right now I have 17. Or if
Yeah.
we can't get that much money, I would need where was the list? I would need 10 gold for hide, and I've basically barely got that for 14 AC.
I have 15 gold left
So
in my person.
if we can get 50 gold together, 50, then I can get decent armor for Lily, and then her +4 stealth is the best of the group. So she could take the boots and get whatever bonus we have from the sneaky boots.
Mhm.
What do you think, Clay? Should we hawk a yak?
I guess that is our purpose. I guess.
It's up
Yes.
to you. It's your yak.
No. Goodbye, my friend.
Did you give the yak a name?
Yakovich.
Probably you don't want. You probably don't want to give it a name if they're going to use it for food, though.
Yeah, he gave it a name. Let's call it Tiraxlek.
Yeah, typing would probably be good. Tiraxlek.
Tiraxlek. Goodbye, my friend. You will become food. Goodbye.
It looks at you with those big bovine eyes as you sell it for 50 gold.
Just 50 gold. I can't haggle that. I'm kidding. 50
Already
gold.
given you guys a markup for it.
You have. 50 gold is good.
Yes.
Could we just immediately turn around and buy that armor? I am looking for
Yeah, I'd say so.
chain shirt.
Yeah, I'd say you can. Like a lot of the armor has been sort of relegated to the militia and the guard at the moment, but you're still able to find something like a chain shirt on sale. Because the militia, they normally equip them with sort of light padded stuff that they can make relatively quickly and cheaply. The chain shirt is more on the realms of the professional guard.
Okay. So I am going to equip that and unequip the heavy armor for now. I am sure I'll put it back. So that reduces my AC by 2.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a decent set of armor that we can use.
Yeah, all right.
I see.
And I do have more prepared, but I believe we are nearing the end of session time.
Mm-hmm.
So we can probably leave it there and get to raiding the Hobgoblin camp in whatever means you guys decide to do so. And for next time,
Yes.
Rest in peace, Taraxlek.
you will be missed.
You were known for all of 12 hours. You will be held deeply in our hearts and in some people's bellies.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we see Othukkax staring off into space. We see like the flashbacks of them like together on like during like the time of like 2 days. But there's a lot of moments, and they are like there's like they have heightened the gloom. Oh no, I mean bloom effect. So it's like very like vibrant.
Lily
Yeah.
It's a
directs
sad song.
a nearby bard to play a sad song on his violin. Othukkax, do I see a tear on your cheek?
No. It must be raining. No. In all seriousness, Othukkax hasn't cried. Just looked up distantly.
All right. Well, Mutton, thank you very much for the session.
Duh.
Mhm. I hope you guys had fun.
Oh, we had fun.
It was less of a combat-y session and more sort of going around, screwing around with NPCs, but
That's
yeah,
always
it
fun.
ended up taking a little longer than I thought it would, but I'm still getting back into the swing of the whole GMing time scaling, so it is how it is. We'll
Yeah.
definitely have a bit more involved, different mechanics going on next time.
Plus, we gotta get all the background together and everything, and
Yeah,
meet
you guys
all
have
the
sort of been
people.
establishing what your relationships are like.
We can smash in some hobgoblins tomorrow, next time.
Yep, tomorrow I'll GM you guys from my workplace. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna end off the stream now. Thank you.
Boy.
No worries.